going to open the meeting of December 13th, 2012. I want to let you know that the Chairman Constantino and Al LaPlante are not here today. We're going to start our meeting with our Finance Director, Tim Pearson. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for seeing me on such short notice. I only have really one thing I want to bring to your attention. That's item 3 on my report, which at this time of year, as you know, I'm always looking for opportunities to purchase equipment that is, on some sort of special. I just got the 2 surveillance systems for half price on Cyber Monday. Mm-hmm. The one for the senior center and the one for the highway department. So again, I'm looking at some purchases, specifically network attached storage device, which will help us with our digital library, if you will, over time. And that's going to be made up of a specific manufacturer's box, which comes without any discs, and then I'm going to be purchasing solid state drives to go in it, which will be in a RAID array, and it'll also work to back up to Amazon S3 cloud service. So it's a very nice, very fast, relatively inexpensive solution, and I'm asking for permission to spend up to $900 on that. I had budgeted actually $850 in next year's budget. And then the other item is that there have been some much better server deals. We have not replaced, well, we have had the server since 2006, I believe, or 5 rather. And it's really showing its age. I've just had to replace the battery backup unit, which, if you've been in Catherine's office recently, beeps incessantly. And a number of other things we've had to replace. I have sufficient budget to cover this, but I'm anticipating it's going to be roughly somewhere under $3,000. It just depends on the configuration. I always buy refurbished by the manufacturer servers and systems, and I would do the same. It's covered by their warranty. But it just depends what they have at any one time in stock that's either been refurbished or returned for whatever reason, sometimes scratch and dent. And this is from Dell Outlet. So that's what I'm looking for permission to do. If I don't find anything that meets the criteria that I think we need, I won't buy anything. But otherwise I'd be coming to you, with the $500 limit on a specific purchase. We would be sticking with Dell for the manufacturer, and we'd be upgrading to Windows 2008 server or possibly to 2011 server. Just depends on the cost. So that's what I'm looking for approval to do through the end of this year.
All right.
So a total of roughly $3,900 for those 2 items.
Well, I understand that, like with the server, you want the freedom to be able to act on it, because now's when the bargains start through the end of the year. So I can appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No, so far you've saved us money with virtually every purchase you've made, so I'm sure that...
I don't like spending money, as you know, so...
Yeah, well, I admire that myself.
And I got really pressured into trying to get a server last year, and I really didn't feel as though we needed it, but I am seeing some more concerning issues cropping up that I think it's time.
I'll make a motion to allow the expenditures as explained in number 3 on his
Second.
report to us.
Is there any other discussion?
No, we knew it was coming.
Yep. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, and one last thing to Colombo. This one little thing. On the back of my report is the Park Commission budget, which I received yesterday. I did note in item number 1 that the department request, which is on the back of this page, shows in the department requested column. But if you were to look at the budget that was submitted last night to the Budget Committee, under the Selectmen recommended, it still shows last year's figure, which was the only figure we had to go by when you last reviewed it and discussed it. So I just want to make note of that for you. If you so choose to decide today and discuss it and make a recommendation recommendation, great. But I want to let you know it was there and what the situation was with the budget document. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. Feel better, Hannah. Okay. Would you like to
Hannah,
come
you
up?
ready for me?
Yep, I am. Come on up.
Thank you guys for meeting with me. At last week's meeting, you guys gave me a plan for the safety concerns at 307 Main Street that you wanted to implement it. That plan was different than the whole final one I had, so Friday, after I thought about it and figured everything out, I figured we got to get a piece of paper signed that, so we know we're on the same page, because there's been about 927 little 8.5 by 11s floating around with different things on it. So I have a copy of the plan now. I did meet with Bill Rollins on Monday. A few of the selectmen came out and met as well. Al LaPlante, Pat Constantino, Sandy Plesner, and Dennis Allen from the Highway Department came out and met with Bill Rollins at 1:30 this past Monday. Everything seems fine with the state. It's on private property. They take no exception to what we're doing. So I have a copy of the plan with some signature places, and I'd like to ask if I could get the selectmen to sign it, saying that this is the plan that we should go with.
Well, I guess first of all, I have to ask, has Jim Cropsey looked at this? Is he in agreement with it? Did he sign it?
Jim Cropsey is in agreement with it. I'm going to present this to him to get him to go forward to do the work, and I'm hoping that the work will be done tomorrow, because I think it's the last day the asphalt plant's open, is tomorrow, to get the asphalt that we need to build the berms. So Jim Cropsey is in agreement. I've talked to Jim several times.
Did he give you
is on
something
board.
to give to us, saying that he's in agreement? I mean, not that I don't trust you, but...
Nope, this came from Jim with the signature spots. Jim
Well, quite frankly,
photocopied.
whatever you do on your property with that berm has nothing to do with the Board of Selectmen.
Right,
That's between you and the state of New Hampshire.
right.
No, the Board of Selectmen are the ones that have the barriers up in front of the
Those are on
parking lot.
our sidewalks.
They're on our side, but if you,
Right, I'm trying to find a
do
way to
this
get 'em down.
tomorrow, then they would go away, because they're there because of the traffic problem. But if you put the berm up, then the barriers will go away.
Well,
Well-
I talked to Pat on Monday, and then you guys came out.
Yeah.
Pat said that you guys would sign the plan.
Pat can't speak for all of us,
She said she couldn't do it unless it was a meeting, an official
Right.
meeting, so.
but I
And
mean,
we agreed with you, and I told you at the time that I was in agreement with what you wanted to do. Bill Rollins was in agreement with what you want to do, and that's fine. But you're presenting something to us that, you know, if you were the landowner, I'd have no problem. But you're not the landowner, unfortunately.
Andy,
And
why couldn't you tell me that Monday?
I told you that we had to have Jim Cropsey.
you don't,
I'll
in
tell,
order for you to go forward with that, just do it.
yeah, you can do
The
it.
Board of Selectmen in the town of Tilton are only concerned with our right-of-way sidewalk
Yeah,
and the safety of the pedestrians on it. If you create a situation there, whether it's, I don't know what you, I'm sorry, I couldn't have been there Monday, but whatever DOT said, yep, that's great.
Yep.
Or
They don't care.
well, we have,
they just want the ingress and egress blocked. That's all they want.
right.
And if you
No,
success,
I don't think they care.
oh, yes, they do.
Oh, they do. I mean, you
They
got
absolutely
this
do.
letter, right?
No.
You didn't get this letter? Well, this is, let me just
I
read.
asked him for a copy, he said he wouldn't send it to me.
Oh, well,
Oh,
anyway.
here, let me make a copy for
Yeah.
you. But they definitely care about the ingress and egress over that
Yeah,
area.
what we're trying to
You
tell
don't need
you,
our permission to put anything there.
you can put that egress up tomorrow, your berm.
I need something in writing from the selectmen telling me that if I do this, yes, we'll take the barricades down. That's what I need.
Well, I can tell you right now, if you put the berm up tomorrow, that yes, we will take down the
Would
barricades.
you write that on here and sign it, Sandra?
Well, what if the berm, what if what is constructed for a berm tomorrow doesn't successfully block cars from ingressing and egressing through there? Are the barriers going to come down? The barriers will come down when that ingress and egress is successfully blocked. At least
When were you going to put it up?
my vote.
Tomorrow.
I know, but I mean, if you'll give us a time, I mean, certainly I'll come and look at it.
Well, no, you don't understand. Before we spend money, we want you guys to be satisfied with what we're proposing.
Okay, well, can you tell me what you're going to put there?
I'm going to put exactly what's on this plan, 100% exactly what's drawn.
Well, I know the location and everything, so the height of it,
That's a Cape Cod berm.
This is what...
I got this plan from the selectmen last week.
Yes,
I didn't draw it, I didn't fabricate it, I didn't make it, I
Neither
didn't
did we.
write anything on it.
I know, and this is a
You
letter...
guys gave it to me.
Right, this is a letter from DOT. It says, "I am writing regarding our meeting yesterday at the above referenced parcel owned by Mr. Cropsey. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss placing a 2-foot wide
Bituminous.
bituminous berm island adjacent to US Route 3 as a deterrent to traffic that currently cuts through the parking lot. The district has no objection to the installation of the island, understanding that the island must be located completely on the Cropsey property as discussed. Walter Apt offered to place 2 no parking signs within the island to deter parking between the island and the US Route 3 travelway. We agree with the placement of the no parking signs and request that the Tilton Police Department provide enforcement of this no parking area. Placing delineators within the island to better delineate the island was discussed. We have no objection to the delineators and would recommend a maximum spacing of 5 feet between delineators. The district will assume no responsibility or liability for the proposed island. Future maintenance will be the responsibility of the property owner. The town expressed an interest in construction of a bituminous sidewalk with vertical granite curb along the U.S. route side of the property. There will be approximately 9 feet remaining between the existing travelway and the island, which would allow for a 4-foot wide shoulder and a 5-foot wide sidewalk in the future. We look forward to working with the town on construction of a sidewalk at this location to improve pedestrian safety. If you have any questions or need any additional information, please don't hesitate to contact me between. So, we know that DOT is fine with it. And like we all told you at the meeting, we are fine with the plan that you have, and we do admire your tenacity to want to get this taken care of. The only thing that's a hang-up right now is anything we would sign is really not a legal document, because we're saying things can be done to property that doesn't belong. The owner of the property isn't here to verify that. You know, that's my own, I can...
Here's the pickle that I'm in, so you guys know. I need to get I kind of took Cropsey out of the loop because it wasn't going anywhere. I thought I could handle this, be the
Yeah.
mediator in between. He's ready to do it, but he only wants to do it and pay for it if you guys are going to accept it as a solution. So he doesn't want to pay for it and then have you not accept it. So we're looking for an approval on what we're proposing to do
Yeah.
so that I
Well-
can get him to do it.
What you're proposing to do is exactly what Mark Morrow had written on the plan for the Cape Cod berm. Now, I'm assuming, Dennis, can you please tell me what a Cape Cod berm is as far as the overall size of it?
Just an asphalt bump.
No, it has a face. The face would be parallel with Route 3.
Yeah. I mean, a straight face?
Straight face, which goes up approximately 5 inches, 5 to 6 inches. And then on the north side of the berm, it kind of goes down, okay, on an angle. And then there's about a 2-inch lip vertical on the other side.
Okay.
That's a Cape Cod berm.
Is that your understanding of what a Cape Cod berm is?
Yeah, yeah. 4 to 6 inches, depending on the form that they're using to place it at the height of it.
They're pretty much all standard level. The Cape
Pretty much
Cod-
5 to 6?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
That is my understanding.
Can we approve his proposal so he can move forward? I've spoken with Mr. Cropsey.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
He said that he supported the plan that was going to be presented by Mr. App 100%. We didn't talk about signed papers or anything, but I understand
Right.
his hesitance to spend money without something that says, yeah, if we do this, then the barriers will come down.
Okay,
And if he does it, the barriers will come down, so I would be more than willing to sign a paper to that effect.
okay.
I don't think you can agree to say the barriers will come down until it's been done. Until, I mean, the catch here is,
If the
if
barriers are
you-
there. Contingent upon the
whatever
barrier.
agreement you have with DOT, and that's got nothing to do with us, successfully blocks motor vehicle traffic from crossing over the sidewalk, I personally will vote to take the barriers down.
Appreciate that, Catherine. I need something from you guys to be able to get the work done, or we're just going to spin our wheels and not get anywhere. So I'm asking you guys to sign something, sign this drawing.
I will sign a statement of what I just said.
Well, I don't understand why you guys won't approve a plan of the construction that's going to take place.
Oh, it's not that we don't want to approve the plan, and I feel much better
I
knowing
don't understand why
that...
you have to wait till after you see it. That's foolishness.
I have that.
That's the
No, yeah.
most foolish thing I've ever heard in my life.
No, no.
Plan. Thank you.
I'm feeling much better knowing that Mr.
Oh, I want a
Gassman...
high-rise built. Go ahead and build it. We'll see if we like it when you're done.
No.
No, that's not how it works, guys.
Well, no, what I was concerned about was, in land use, you never take the tenant's word for anything. It has to be signed off by the owner of the property. But I feel much better knowing that Mr. Jessman has talked to Jim Cropsey, and he knows...
He's on board. He has stated to me he's all set with this, and that he felt that Mr. Apt, he was good with Mr. Apt representing him in this matter. But he didn't want to lay out money unless he knew that if he did X, Y would happen. So if he puts in the berm to our satisfaction,
Right,
the barriers come down.
okay,
That's the only assurance he wants.
right. Okay, then what else?
We wouldn't vote to take the barriers down until the berm was in place and approved.
Right,
He just wants to know that that would happen.
And I think, Money, that was the understanding.
yes,
We looked at the design that Walter had laid out with the Cape Cod berm,
yep,
and we looked at the berm on the Prospect side.
right.
We were all in agreement with what he laid out, and he was asked to come Thursday, okay? And so he could proceed, if the board was all set with it, he could proceed to get the work done on Friday morning.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, you want to make a motion?
I would make a motion that, golly, I don't even know what the motion should be right offhand. Word this so that it works for you. I would like to move that once the berm that had been approved through the DOT has been successfully installed, at that time, the barriers
Town
that are
barriers.
currently in place would be removed,
Right.
successfully installed. So that would be approved, that it's going to be wide enough, it's going to be deep enough, it's going to be an approved berm. Is that the way to put it? I mean, I want to make
That's
this...
not going to get my vote.
Well, then what exactly, you make the motion? I'm willing, I just want to make sure you get in business before the asphalt plant is closed.
Right on it.
So what should the motion say?
Just one little comment. If I don't leave here today with something in writing from you guys, it's not going to happen, and the plant's going to close, and we're not going to be anywhere.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we just want to have something that's legal. You're going to get it today.
Thank you, Joe.
It's a stinker, isn't it? At least I'm in the shade right now. Oh, you're not going to be at work tomorrow, are you?
No.
Can one of your guys?
Walter, what time would they be starting?
I don't know for sure. Haven't talked to him since early in the week until, I figured no sense talking about it 9,000 times till we get out of this meeting and can do something.
Really, if they did that, let's say...
They gotta go to Hudson to get it, so there's a couple hours.
Yeah, so mid-morning...
We want it to warm up a little bit anyways.
Exactly. My personal thoughts, okay, I would leave the barricade there.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
still have to get the sign poles and the 2 signs, and I didn't want to order those till we met today.
Plus-
so-
I don't know if we want to
plus you
include
want
this.
That asphalt to cure up
Yep.
and harden up as long as it can.
Get a few warm days, all we get's afternoons.
Yeah.
And then it
before-
freezes overnight.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's going
I'm
to be
happy.
50 degrees tomorrow. It's as warm as it's going to be, I think.
Right.
But you
No,
don't,
I think we got another week with the Bears. For safety's sake. Yeah, you just want to do the right thing, get it
Yeah,
done,
yeah.
do it right.
Catherine,
I just
Catherine,
done with
did
it.
you
No,
hear
no, no.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we may,
Mr. App just said that he thought they had at least another week with the barricades, so, because...
if we put the berm tomorrow.
Yes, the berm goes in tomorrow, and it's got to
Okay.
have time to
Would
firm
you like
up.
me to read it, or you want to read
Well,
it?
they should see it.
All right.
I think that's what we want to take place. Which gives them latitude to do whatever they need to make that take place.
Well, he has a approved plan
Okay,
that calls for a berm, so,
okay, go ahead.
okay.
Are you okay with the last statement, the Board of Selectmen? Or should we say we, the undersigned? I mean, right now, we're the Board of Selectmen.
Actually-
The other two
actually-
members aren't here.
The Board of Selectmen.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are the Board of Selectmen today.
Selectman
We have a
President.
Yes,
quorum.
we have a quorum.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Once a barrier, berm, or other device is installed that will successfully block vehicular traffic from ingressing and egressing the parking lot at 307 Main Street over the town sidewalk, we, the Board of Selectmen, agree to remove the crossbucks.
Thank you, Catherine. I think
Second,
that's as good as we're going to get. And
Third,
And it gives you latitude to put
yeah.
whatever.
You know, if you start working, you decide you need to do something.
Print it.
hopefully I can get Jim satisfied with that. If not, I guess I'm buying the asphalt and doing it tomorrow.
I did.
I thirded
And
it,
then-
so if you
and
really
Joe
want to
thirded.
vote,
He thirded it.
I thirded it. But we need to have an official vote.
Yes. Okay, is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed. Okay,
Thank you, Sandy.
yep.
Catherine, thank you very much.
And she's
welcome.
typing it up, and we
You
will
bet.
sign it and give you a copy of it, okay?
All righty. Sounds
Just
great.
take a
I'll
second.
sit in the audience for a little while.
And
Okay.
let me know, Walter, when you want, after it's installed, if you want to leave the barriers up for 2 or 3
Why don't you
days.
just swing by when you leave here, and I'll phone back to your truck tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, you guys, let's laugh about this a little bit.
While we're waiting on that, do you want to look at the minutes? We can get them taken care of while Joyce is doing that.
Sure, I'll make a motion to bring the minutes of... I lost them. I know I've got them. Here we go. The minutes of December 6, 2012 to the floor for discussion.
Second?
Yes,
All those in favor?
yes.
Okay. I was going to say, don't leave yet.
No.
All right.
I think dinner is the most important thing I get to do. Just kidding.
They're downstairs. I have so many copies. Joyce, did you bring me a copy of the minutes? I left mine downstairs. You can do it.
On page 5, under the reports for the selectmen, Walter Apt, I believe you misspelled his last name, it should have a T in it. APT instead of S.
I did that a couple of times, I think, Cindy.
Yep, yes, it is. Well, you did use his name quite a bit, didn't you? Well, this is when you attended our meeting, and we were going over your paper that you brought.
Say approve it, I'll see you. You want to proof that, make sure I...
Okay.
Did you find the minutes in here? Yes.
Let's look at it. Okay.
This is emailing.
Oh. Okay.
What you think, what you think? Do this as soon as... Yeah.
You like it, Joe? Just go ahead and sign it, and send it down, and we'll all sign it, and I'll make a copy for our records and give Mr. Apt the original. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of December 6, 2012 as corrected.
Second.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Back. This is not working, it won't let me print now because it's my phone.
Try pressing the button again.
I did.
Oh, you did? All right. Sometimes you can trick it. Would you want me to send it down to the color copier?
Yeah, well, I'm just making copies for us. I was going to give you the original.
Is Johanna still here?
No.
You can use her copy, I'm sure. Usually this orange.
It's telling us that it's slow, and I pressed the copy button a couple times and didn't do it.
Well, press the top where it says, the very top one. And I'll try it again.
Is it gonna work? Oh, is it, oh, no.
Let me try yours first.
Yeah, here, put it in. Okay, now, ask for, get at least 3 copies, okay? Because Catherine won't mind.
Copier and I know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh, okay.
I think it confuses it. Was I kind of overriding that? Saying, you know what, I don't care.
That's great. Not 40, that's all right.
Okay.
So I can email this to you, Kathy.
You can go to work?
I made,
That's actually a pretty much stronger statement than just signing your now.
Yeah, let me take a copy.
I think it's right to the point. It doesn't put you guys in a predicament. It doesn't put it.
Yes, please.
And hopefully it will ease any concerns going forward that if he does this, he's all set.
yes.
Yeah.
Crap.
And, you know, the fact of the matter is, if we don't succeed in stopping traffic, you guys are going to put up your barricades.
Yeah, we got to do something.
Yeah, so it's good. It's great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yay. Is this the first public hearing on Vest Pocket? Or like-
No,
oh,
second. It's the second public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we made a motion and
First, leave that.
to approve the minutes, and it was seconded, and we voted?
Well, Catherine and I voted. I don't know if you did.
I didn't hear the motion. Okay.
Joe
you
made the motion, I made the second.
We voted yes.
Okay, and I'll vote yes. So the minutes have been approved.
Done deal.
Approved as corrected, correct?
Yes.
All right, next. Okay, do you want to do let's take Joyce next. There's reports from selectmen, but why don't we let Joyce go? And then we'll... Can you be done in 45 minutes?
Oh, I can be done in 15.
Whoa. I'm just thinking because Jeannie Forster's next on the agenda. Okay.
In the to be signed is a request for some carryover of paid time off. That's just my recommendation. So if the board has any questions when they're going through the paid time off folder.
Okay.
The next thing, I wanted to make the board aware that we received a communication from the Franklin District Court regarding our small claims that we had filed, and the response from the defendant was that they have requested that the matter be transferred to Merrimack County Superior Court, which is their right under the law for a jury trial.
The small claims?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, can you say it out loud?
No, but is that it? Will that tell us?
Yes. Anyway, this is all we received, so I called the court, and I said, you got to give me a little more information. I said, I didn't get whatever the response, what was the response that they filed?
Right.
And so they said they were going to send that to me.
Okay.
Okay, that didn't help me.
Doesn't help?
Didn't help me.
But as soon as I get more information from them, because obviously you'll have to file an appearance, and so the board will need to be talking about this at some point.
It's not non-public. If we filed in small claims court, what is the case?
We filed against her?
Right, we're the plaintiff. Yeah, sure, it's a case, yes.
What is the case? I don't remember.
Holden Engineering.
Oh! I should have recognized the name.
Oh, I saw something in the FYI file.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the first name.
Yeah.
Well, that's the corporate officer.
Okay.
Where was that? There was something in here.
Oh, yeah, I'm up to speed now.
Oh, here, this. This was in the,
Well, that's the balance of the contract that they wanted paid.
okay, and they're saying that this, I'm looking for a date on, oh,
Yeah, that we owe them $538.
right. Well, according to this, isn't it 587? That looks like 587.31.
Yep. There's no mention of the
Right.
money that they owe us
Right.
When did we get this?
this week.
That's why we got it.
Yep.
The next thing, at last week's meeting, I had mentioned that we needed to correct some language in the second paragraph of the Best Way contract. And this is what needed to be corrected. They sent the corrected page. Paul St. Hilaire initialed it. I just need the selectman to initial it.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Kind of keep this all together because that's the contract.
I assume it was the first paragraph, whereas, that was changed, something in there?
Yes.
Oh, if you turn the page,
Yeah, if you turn the page, you'll see what was changed.
she's got them circled.
Oh,
It just didn't make any sense.
oh, it's just grammatical,
Yeah,
not substance.
no.
Right.
It's a public document, and I just want to make sure that it's...
Absolutely.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to report on is we had our site visit with the contractors at Ernie's. This is an addendum that RIP has prepared to send out to all of the bidders. I think I had sent you a prior status report that, I think we only had 8 people show up. But I will send it to all of the people that I had sent inquiries to, because the site visit was not mandatory. Yes.
Yes. Which doesn't change anything necessarily in our world, but I just thought it was an interesting aside.
The one thing I want to bring to your attention is number 6. One of the questions that came up is, would the town waive the demolition permit? The demolition permit is $100, and what I would ask is that the board agree to waive the permit fee, just that demolition permit fee, none of any other fees, and then we can use that $100 as match, in-kind match.
Well, I was going to say, in all the years that I worked for the town, we never charged the town a fee for permits needed. I mean, it seems silly to charge yourself to do something.
But before I sent this out, I wanted the board to
Right.
review it.
Well, we really don't charge ourselves, that would be charged to the contractor doing the work for us, and indirectly, we would pay for it because it would be in his cost, so to speak.
Right.
Correct.
But, yeah, you're right. We typically, haven't we?
Right, yeah.
But I can record that cost as match.
Okay.
What am I reading?
These are questions that came up
Well, yeah,
during
but
this.
they're already answered. That was already answered, yes.
Yes.
Well, I
response,
haven't
yeah.
sent this out yet.
Oh!
This has not
so
been
this
sent.
This is a draft to be
Yes,
sent out that you
yes.
prepared.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I wasn't at that meeting.
Yeah, I had sent out an email to the board ahead of
Brain
time
is just getting unplugged.
to let them know that's what I had said, and but
You're keeping us on schedules, what you're doing.
She's determined to
keeping
get
it moving. Well, because I made a promise.
Joe, I think that
made a
promise. It was still there when I drove past there earlier, that's all I know.
Okay, so I'm going to read this with a different,
Yeah.
Well, I think it was because some of the projects that these companies have done, it's like thousands of dollars for demolition permit fees, and so they just wanted to know,
Right.
since it's a town project, if that would be waived.
so we should have a motion to, make a motion that we waive
Yes.
the town permit fees as it pertains to the Ernie's project for, this is demolition, right?
Yep,
Demolition.
And asbestos remediation, abatement.
yep.
We have a fee for that?
No, but that's what the
It's all
project
part of
is,
the-
the same
Oh,
project.
and asbestos remediation.
Second that.
Under discussion, can we actually use the waiving of a fee as part of the match?
Because that's a
Okay.
cost. That's an eligible cost.
Yeah, but we just waived it, nobody paid it.
Well, technically, the town did because we're losing that income. That's
Okay,
income
as long
we're
as long as
donating.
it's legal,
We're donating that.
what are we going to do, charge ourselves?
Yes,
Because basically that's what it comes down to.
that's right. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to add that the immediate abutter was able to be present
Good.
at the start of the site walk and spoke with our engineering consultant, and I did speak with him subsequent to that to get his permission to, about the electrical.
About what?
The electrical, it's number...
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And he was very gracious and very helpful to the project.
We have an electrical line that goes across that property that provides electricity to the adjacent property?
There's a
Is there a
pole in the...
right-of-way for that?
Not aware of any, I mean, wouldn't that be a pole permit from PSNH?
Well, PSNH would have to have a right-of-way from us to go across their property for that. But is it underground? Or is it
Oh, no,
overhead?
it's overhead, and it's right through you have Ernie's, and then there's like a little,
I've seen the
and then it's next to the
conflagration of
thing.
wires, but I've never
Yeah, and-
looked to see them going out the other side.
there's a pole. There is a pole that's in the back.
We should at some point check and see if there is a right-of-way or some kind of permit from them to have it there.
So to contact PSNH.
Yeah.
would be nice to, since there won't be any structure there, it would be much nicer not to have overhead lines
Right, just to bury it.
Right.
while we're doing that construction.
I think as part of the redevelopment, we could get that included.
Put that underground
Yeah.
or have it come down the boundary line,
Right.
something.
All right, because it will look funny just having this pole standing there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, looks good to me.
Why are they not required to move the asphalt pile? Number 11.
I read that.
I don't know, that wasn't in the bid specs, and I think that will fall under our, when we do the redevelopment.
That can go in the hole, can it?
I
It's
don't
left by
know.
the building?
I don't know, it's
You don't
supposed
want
to
to
be
put asphalt in a hole.
leveled, they want it to be level. I know the concrete blocks have to be removed.
Oh, interesting.
That's part of it.
That's part of this, to have that removed, and then they have to level and grade the site. And
Because they don't have any place to put the blocks on site?
I think at this
Underground?
time, we don't want to be doing that. We
No,
want to
I'd
just,
rather not. I don't like burying.
Right.
and
Okay.
for now, we'll just leave,
Today's world, they may be okay. But 10 years from now, they may find out they
Yep.
weren't okay.
That's right. You
So
never
for
know.
now, just, I mean, there isn't that much asphalt when you
Right.
look
I
at the whole
remember the
site.
little pile back
So just to leave that, and then when we do the site
Concentrate on the
redevelopment, we'll,
You have
Well,
to take up other asphalt anyway, and get rid of it all at once in an approved area.
So we're allowing them to remove trees within 10 feet of the building at their discretion. Why is that?
there's two trees. If you're facing the building, they would be to your left.
Right.
They're right on the boundary line, they're right intertwined with all the wires.
It doesn't, but that's what I'm saying, it doesn't specify.
I know, it's going to be
Are
up to
those
the
the only
contractor.
trees within 10 feet of the building?
No, they're not.
No,
There's one on,
Yes?
Senator Forrester is running about 5 to 10 minutes behind. She wanted me to let you know.
Thank you.
there's one on the right-hand side of that building as you stand looking
That's in
at
the
it.
building, pretty much.
And, well, the building's on it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
I
one.
can only but imagine that they'll be removing that tree as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
I know
That
there's
one's
two
fine.
on the left,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
up
they're-
against the building, and we're not talking mighty oaks here, we're talking
Okay,
about
that's my question.
scraggly trees.
I haven't been behind the building since we did the cleanup.
oh, behind the building,
Oh, there's some pines and evergreens around the
is there the
boundary.
picture?
But that goes back a ways. I remember walking back and forth, pulling all the stuff out. and
There's
those
some
trees are
evergreens.
back. Yes, they're back, though.
But
Those
in
are
the
back.
in the back left corner, that's close to the evergreens. I don't have a problem with evergreens.
Yeah,
They're pretty fast growing, you don't want evergreens
right.
anyway. But there's no deciduous trees, because that's what I was thinking of.
I don't think so, Catherine. I
Okay.
mean, can I tell you exactly what the species of trees are? No. They're scraggly-looking trees.
Yes. And they're right in the way where they're at.
I mean, I'm
would
not a
say so.
contractor, but if I had my equipment in there and I was going to be removing things, and you've got to be dealing with the wires and the trees, I mean, I would do what I could to.
Right. Yes.
In order to get those wires buried, they're almost going to have to cut the tree
I've
down
built
to stump.
foundations around trees. It's amazing what homeowners will do
Oh, yeah.
for a tree.
We built a whole big deck around one of our trees in the backyard. Didn't
Oh,
have
I
a-
love trees, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in the scheme of things, this being a park, a nice hedge or bushes or whatever we decide in there,
Yep,
I'm sure will be much nicer than what we've got going now.
yep. But there are some trees in the back.
But they're not within 10 feet of
No,
the
no, they're
building.
beyond the
Yeah.
10-foot, so.
Confirming this prior to the building, that's interesting.
I mean, there are dig-safe markings out there, and they were asking questions, and the response was, well, you're the contractor, you need to contact dig-safe, and you need to find out that information.
Right.
So who responded to this?
The list is attached.
1, 2, 3, 4. Did Rick Patton respond to this?
Respond to this?
I mean, his signature is on this, so he wrote this. I'm just interested because he says there are no underground tanks that need to be addressed as part of the contract.
Right.
That's what he says.
As part of this contract.
Yep. No surprises.
This sheet is the people that showed up for the site walk.
Right. Okay.
It's very definitive. I like it.
Yes. Surprise.
Well, I was taking notes during the meeting. Too bad I tossed my scribbles. But it's amazing from my scribbles, he was able to put this all together. I mean, we hit everything, so. So with your permission, I'll go ahead and email this out to all the people that were on that list that you received last week.
I agree.
Okay, great. And the only other thing I have,
You have to talk to me later when we meet. Bye.
that's it, unless you have anything. Oh, I emailed everyone the status report on the contractors, where we are with the contractors for the canopy and getting estimates on some other projects.
Right.
And I've told them that the deadline is next Thursday, that I have to, who's ever interested, they have to give me something by next Thursday.
Okay.
I've got 2 more coming next week,
All right.
so. And that I emailed my updated status report to the board on that. Oops.
Okay.
You did a nice job with these responses. I like that.
Well, I'll tell you, RIP is very easy to work with. I mean,
Yeah.
they've just been like whipping stuff out. So is there anything else, any other questions or anything?
I have one that pertains to, what did I do with it? The list of, I was looking at our maintenance and improvements, what's been done, what's yet to be done.
Yeah, where that list came from, that's the list I've been keeping with the board. I'm sure there's other things, but until the board discusses it, or or until I bring it, something forward to the board that's come from our Life Safety Committee
Yep.
or our staff meeting, I don't put it on my list.
That answers a question because it's been talked about for years about securing the front office.
I think as a board, tell me to
So
put that
that's
on the
something
list.
We can discuss
Yep.
before this meeting's over.
Yep, I'd like
Okay.
that, and
You
also...
answered my question.
Well, we talked a little bit at the last meeting, I don't think you were at the last one, about the stage area and
Right.
about this.
Right.
I told you. Yes, so please let me know, and I'll add it to the list.
All righty. Thank you, Joyce. Okay, before we move on, Scott, would you like to talk about something?
What's that?
Would you like to talk with us about something?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I was just reading, and I know Joe was on it, and I'm sure he's still on the committee for the recycling.
I am.
I guess what bothers me is the fact that it was presented last year that it's not financially feasible as far as saving the taxpayers any money to go to pay-as-you-throw or curbside recycling, just because the majority of what they pick up, 70%, is the commercial haulers, which they're already recycling, and we're not going to gain any recyclables from them. When I did the numbers last year and I presented this sheet to the recycling committee, the 2010 budget, we were, it was $303,609. We were paying at that time $62.10 per ton. Now, this last year, I believe, or right now, we're paying $66.80 per ton. And when you ran the numbers out, there was 4,728 ton, and this last year is 4,732, so we haven't really changed at all. Stayed just the same. And when you broke the numbers down for 2010 and 2011, almost mirrors exactly. There was 1,373 tons was the curbside, There was 3174.53 was the commercial haulers. So 70% was the commercial haulers, 30% was the curbside. And when you start talking about saving the taxpayers money by going to curbside, pickup, as far as for recyclables, how much, you only can work off the 1,373 tons. And it just doesn't make any sense because, she was talking, or the committee was talking, and Marge is the chairwoman of the committee, she was talking that the curbside could get cut by maybe 50%, so you could save maybe $30,000, because that's what it's costing us eventually for the curbside pickup. That's what you could save, but that wasn't including what it's going to cost for the new truck, the different type of trucks that have to come pick it up, the different pickup times, and also the $1.25 per bag that each family was going to have to pay for every bag that they bought. And it's just, when you look at it, you break that down, 61,000, even if you took the whole thing, to raise that is 12 cents per thousand. And, that's costing us, $24 on a $200,000 home. If you flip that the other way around, and you say, okay, I'll use 52 bags at $1.25 a bag a week, it's costing you $65 for what it's costing $24 now. 3 times as much. How is that? That isn't even feasible to bring forward to the taxpayer, especially in these economic times. We all want to save the environment, but you can do it at a cost that is conducive to the family. And that, as well as I do, there is no way one bag is going to take care of a family if you've got 2 or 3 kids and a mother and father in a household. There's no way. You can recycle all you want. You're still going to have more than a bag a week.
Can I jump in here?
You can jump in anytime.
Okay. It didn't make any kind of economic sense to bring forward that warrant article, which is why it was pulled. The recycling committee dictated the terms that the RFP went out under, which in retrospect was, I'll call it silly. We, this year, are exploring, is it feasible to go forward in a different route? The number 6680 that you referred to as our tipping fee is going to be our tipping fee for the next 12 months as well. Except the actual tipping fee is just over $87. That the difference is being propped up by the reserve fund that the co-op has on hand, which is okay for this year, but there's a better than even chance that the co-op, as we know it today, will be dissolved at the end of 2014. Not all of the reasons I can tell you, but one of the larger individual dumping communities is exploring other options.
And I know, Joe, when it was discussed last year, it was the point that if the single stream recycling went on board, then it might make it more feasible, but from my understanding, that's dead in the water.
That is dead in the water, and there's no doubt about that. The projected tipping fee in Pennacook will be over $100 a ton at the end of 2014 going into 2015. Now you're talking about a 42% increase in the tipping fee for the 1,300, we'll call it 1,350, round number. So $40 a ton more. Or we can bury it in the ground in one of the various places that there are, none of which are around here, which increases our hauling fees. So we're exploring how do we keep the cost of our garbage down. We're paying in excess of $200,000 a year now. And no, I can't say that exactly, because we do only have 30% of that tonnage.
The bill's between $250 and $300, but you take 70%.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did, what do we do? How do we go forward? Or do we go forward? So what we've done is we put out RFPs to all of the major haulers. We received a number of them back for once-a-week pickup of recyclables at the curb, twice a month pickup. It would be a separate truck, because if they have to buy a truck, we have to buy a truck. You know what I mean?
We're paying for it.
So the way we put out the RFP last time, once we got the numbers back, even I was stunned, that this is not economically feasible. Is it economically feasible going forward? With the RFPs we've got, it becomes, especially in the third and fourth year of that contract, it brings it down, like, it doesn't pay for itself. Especially if you take 50% of our tonnage out of the stream, there's...
Pounds curbside tonnage.
Yeah. How do you reach 50% if people if there's no premium? And so we're exploring various options. Will the thing you just described be put forward at town meeting? Not a chance. But there will be something, I'm sure. If you like, I have a lot of information. I'll give you one of my cards. I don't have your email, I don't think. But if you send an email to me, I'll send you copies of the information that I have. And we discussed at the meeting, it's like, I want to send this stuff to Scott Davis. Nobody dissects the potential costs like you do, Scott, really.
Well, I just, I think it's got to be, granted, we all want to save the environment, but we have to do it with
Agreed.
the understanding that you can't put the households in financial straits by doing so.
Absolutely agreed. And that's...
My concern is the fact that it just, puts a lot more burden on the families that we have within town.
And we are considering that too. That's part of the overall cost. I mean, although we want to move forward with this.
We're unique in the fact that I bet you, if you went around the communities in New Hampshire, you would not have a community that 70% of what they're hauling for trash is commercial hauling. I think we're unique because of the exit 20 area and the size of our community.
The size of our community, yeah.
It lopsides it, and so
Right.
we're unique in that aspect,
Yes.
that you can't just take what average community in New Hampshire would look at.
Right.
They're probably more of a 60-40, 60% residential, 40% on the commercial side.
If that, yeah. The one thing that surprises me in all of these things that I go to with regard to recycling and how they do it and stuff, is that I have yet to hear of a one that didn't institute mandatory recycling and say that they would go back to doing it any other way. Some of the bigger municipalities that I would have thought that people would just be up in arms about this, just accept it as a matter of fact, and they don't want to go back. And some of them even make a profit at it.
I think something that scares me also, Joe, is the fact that if you go to a pay-as-you-throw, if a family's having financial struggles, are they just going to start throwing their trash everywhere and anywhere?
Right,
And then it becomes a policing issue.
right.
We end up with bags of trash down on Main Street or over the ditch somewhere, and just because they financially can't afford to buy the bags, they're making a decision, and they just...
Well, we have discussed that issue. There's nothing anecdotal that would indicate that to be true in any other municipality that we could find. We also discussed the fact that they would be available here at Town Hall after a certain criteria is met through the proper department, because there are people that flat out won't be able to afford to buy the bags. I know that. Everybody knows that. So it's not like we're throwing anybody under the bus, because nobody wants to see garbage out in the woods again or anything. And I won't sit here and give you the whole proposal I'm working out in my head. I got a little speech that goes with it. You'll love it, Scott. But I wholeheartedly understand what you're saying, and I guarantee you that the numbers will make more sense. Is it going to cost money to go to do this? You bet. I can't imagine in the first few years that this won't cost us something. But I'm hopeful that as we progress and as we move forward, that as the recycling percentage goes up, the costs associated with the tipping fees and the curbside contracts for picking up regular garbage. If they don't pick up as much, they don't charge us as much. I don't have those figures yet, but I'm working it out, and I'll send you copies of everything, because I'd love for you to go over it. I want you to, of all people, to be on board with this, really.
Well, I said before that if you could show that it was, reasonable to the citizens, and, I'm all for recycling. I'm just not for a huge increase onto the tax.
And neither am I. I'm a taxpayer. I have an Excel spreadsheet in which I've started to extrapolate the numbers with the figures and the 10%, 20%, all the way up to 50% recycling, what it would cost with each of the companies that submitted an RFP. And if you'll look behind your right shoulder, you'll see a large container. Those come in various sizes, from little totes to half that size and a quarter that size for people with various loads. And how do you store those things? There's a lot of things, and you're totally welcome to come to any of those meetings and inject.
Because one thing I will say, Joe, is our neighboring community, Franklin, has found it's a lot greater expense than what they initially thought it was going to be.
I can't imagine why they didn't think it was going to be a bigger expense, but...
They're finding a bigger expense on the maintenance, too.
Certainly, to be environmentally responsible, we need to do some kind of recycling. Personally, I'm not sure curbside pickup of our recycling is necessary. When we have a centrally located facility that'll take it.
We have two, actually. Don't we have two? Aren't we running both now?
No, we got the one down there in the best way.
We could do something more at Town Garage if we go to recycling. We could turn that around. But, definitely best way is very centrally located where it is on 140. And,
but I thought this last year we had two, didn't we have?
We had the
61 Business
dumpster.
Park Drive, they put dumpsters out,
Yeah,
but that may not continue. And we can do things like that, and again, that's why I say, I'm not sure personally,
Possibly.
curbside pickup of recyclables is the way to go. I do think we need to go to some kind of paper bag.
And I guess that's what my comment was in regards to, is they did curbside pickup in Franklin, and they rolled out the numbers, and the original numbers they rolled out are not even close.
I'd rather see us go
Their
paper
maintenance
bag.
on their trucks are a lot higher.
They're going through 4 sets of brakes per truck per year. That's a huge expense on those trucks.
But it is a work in progress at this point.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be coming with a warrant article that was...
Well, it may come with a warrant article, but it will be petitioned.
Okay.
It won't come from the Selectmen's office.
Okay.
And this will not be a unilateral decision, because nobody, including me, and I advocate for recycling as much as I can, would consider imposing that on the town without the town say-so. Pure and simple.
Why wouldn't it come through the selectmen, since the
No.
recycling committee is supposed to advise the selectmen?
Imposed unilaterally. We dictate that it's going to be picked up by Best Way, it's going to go over here, and if we were so inclined by law, we could say we're going to institute curbside recycling. But I don't think that's anywhere near what we want to do, and I think a warrant article is the way to do this.
Committee gone rogue.
I don't even understand what you're talking about.
The recycling committee was formed at the request of the selectmen.
By town meeting.
I know that.
Wasn't it?
No.
That was not formed through town meeting?
No, Selectman Dawson asked for it to be formed and suggested that the moderator appoint the first members.
It was formed by the governing body, and it's not going to come back through the governing body?
That's not,
Well, that's what it was
that's-
supposed to come back through the governing body. It was formed to go out there and gather this information for the selectmen.
And that's
But
what we've
nevertheless, they've done a great job. But yeah, now you're telling us that a petition warrant article will be formed and the selectmen will have no say about it.
That's not at all what I said. Maybe I said it wrong.
Well, a petition warrant article is only
That's
done in
what
one
came
way.
up, that's the way that it came up the last time.
I know.
Do you want, what
I
I'm
said the
saying is,
same
we don't want to impose this on the town.
Right.
Well,
So when you say that, Joe, do you mean that it would be a petition warrant article not supported by
No.
the recycling committee, or a petition warrant article supported by only a majority of the, but not the whole?
A petition warrant article is signed by the 25 or more people, registered voters in the town. The selectmen take a look at it and they say they approve it or they don't approve it.
We can't keep a petition warrant article.
no, we don't do anything with it.
We don't recommend them?
Make sure it's legal.
Yeah.
That's all.
We don't recommend them or not?
No.
No, they cannot stop.
Oh, heck
a petition
no.
warrant article.
No.
That isn't what I said. That isn't what I said. It's like the budget committee recommends or whatever, the selectmen don't, or the selectmen do, the budget
Those aren't
committee
petition
does.
warrant articles.
Right.
A petition warrant
A regular
article
warrant article?
only tells you how that warrant gets to our warrant, if you will. It's the selectmen's warrant. And articles can get there by way of the Board of Selectmen or by petition.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that as well. And
So if they
last
come
time
by
it came by
petition,
petition.
they bypass the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, the Board of Selectmen has no
That's the
authority.
democratic way, and I think it's a fantastic way, but,
Right.
so that's why I said a
But that's why
committee
you
gone rogue.
might be mistaken
No.
on which way they're going to bring it forward, Joe.
That's just, quite frankly, it came up by petition the last time. And I assumed it would come up by petition again, that's all.
Not through it should not through the committee, though, Joe.
No, by people signing a warrant article, or signing the
The
petition.
proper way for it to happen is for it to come to the Board of Selectmen. The information to come to the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
The recommendation from the Recycling Committee to the Board of Selectmen. But again, it didn't happen last year, and I made the same speech last year.
Yes.
Well,
You
it's
know,
coming.
it's hard to fault a committee that works so hard and so diligently. And I mean,
And they're doing a good job.
they've done such a marvelous job.
Yep.
You can't fault them.
No, I'm not.
So no matter how the article gets to the warrant,
Well, I'm kind of
It's a good
faulting me
thing.
now, because I think I've been pretty upfront with what the
Very
recycling
upfront.
committee is doing.
very upfront.
I assumed that the selectmen wouldn't want to put this on the warrant necessarily, but if it came up by a petition, well, maybe you could say, hey, this is a wonderful thing, and we should put this on here.
Well, I think you have, as a committee, you have two options, Joe. First is to present to the Board of Selectmen
Right.
your findings.
So we do that anyway.
Recommendation to put a warrant article forth.
Right.
If the selectmen vote no, as a majority, to vote no, not to go forward with that warrant article, then you, as a committee, could say, we'll go back and we're...
To hell with the selectmen.
That's exactly right.
Very well said.
I love government. I love democracy.
You got until February 5th this year?
Right.
Is it 5th,
Yeah.
Joyce?
Oh, no, no.
I think it's February 5th for petition warrant
But we're
articles.
still, I mean, we had a meeting with them last week, I believe. was
No,
it?
the week before.
No, the week before.
And, you know, they're bringing everything that they're finding forward. We
Well, I thought
have,
they had, reading the minutes, the
Yes.
most current minutes online.
Right.
I thought they had come in like a week ago or so in
Yes.
front of you with the information. That's what it
With some-
stated.
Tentative information that we had sent out an RFP.
Right.
With, you tell us how it becomes most economically feasible. I'm still working on those figures, and we'll be coming back after the first of the year with that presentation, and the selectmen talk about that, and we'll see what happens then.
right. Okay. So it's not a done deal yet.
Oh, heavens, no. No.
All right, if there's really nothing further, our guest is here, so Jeannie, would you like to come up and join us?
Senator, how are you?
How are you?
Confused, apparently. But, you know, I'm learning all the time.
Senator Forrester, we're very happy that you've agreed to come and talk with us and get to know us and what our complaints and gripes are and good things.
I gotta tell you, I'm so delighted you represent us.
Yes.
Just
I am too. I have
so
to say.
delighted.
Thank you. I'm glad-
Catherine, would you like to start?
You know where I stand.
Yeah.
I understand from communicating with you that the deadline for new legislation is coming fast and quick.
Next Friday.
I did email you earlier. I have two of my thoughts. One of them, I think, you have been in communication with Joe and the chief, and that's the motor vehicle fines.
Yep.
I do understand what they're used for, however, I do have some issues with the way the state
Right.
chooses to budget, uses its monies. Highway Trust Fund has to come into this. But the other issue is, and one that we've been here in Tilton struggling with for years, is Route 311, the state highway, is our main street. The speed limit currently, right in front of Town Hall, down through Main Street, is 35 miles per hour. During the heavy traffic times, morning, afternoon, the traffic itself will slow that traffic down somewhat. But you get in times where we don't have that traffic, evenings, early mornings, and we can have tractor trailer trucks and whatnot, and it's amazing how fast they come down through town.
Kids live on
And our
that
main
street.
street is such that when you enter it, there's this corner here. So if somebody coming barreling through, by the time they get over here and somebody's in that crosswalk, they're jumping out of the way. We cannot lower our speed limit and on our main street because it is a state highway. And legislatively, I understand the minimum speed limit is 35 miles an hour on this stretch of road. Because we, the town, have no jurisdiction. Is that correct? Oh, where'd he go?
Speed limit say
Bobby, where'd you go?
I thought it was 30.
Are you trying to leave?
That just needs me to get something on the car.
Okay,
I can,
I thought it was 30.
It's 30, speed limit.
is it 30?
Yes. Yeah, but
Even 30 is too fast, because you'll get cars going down through there 40 and 45.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
they
most of
always
us know
cost forever.
if you're less than 10 miles over the speed limit, no problem.
Yeah.
Have you,
Is that pretty well the synopsis of our problems with lowering the speed limit on Main Street? That it's legislatively not out of our jurisdiction
yeah, I'd like to
or
see
control?
change that allows the Board of Selectmen the ability to lower the speed limit in the downtown or village districts.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know when they lost that ability, but it's...
I don't think we ever had it.
Franklin must have the same
Well-
issue, right?
Pre the 30s, when did New Hampshire DOT form?
Right.
Maybe when it was the Daniel Webster Road.
And it's a
and it was
problem in every
dirt.
small town. We had the same problem in Plymouth.
Yeah.
okay. I'm happy to file something for you. What I would like to do first is perhaps have a meeting with the commissioner, and either you or both, or whoever would like to attend, and try to do that early next week. If
I'm available.
I'm available. Yeah,
Okay.
just let me know what day.
If you want to contact the chief, he'll let me know when.
Okay,
And I'll just make myself available, so I'll keep my,
okay.
Thank you.
make double sure.
Well, I will work on that tomorrow and see about setting something up early next week. What I have found is that it seems like first best step is to bring the commissioner in and tell him that this is a problem and that we'd like to get it fixed without legislation. And
The
the
assistant commissioner, one of them. Or the assistant commissioner.
I'm sorry, and I said, I said DOT, and I mean Department of Safety.
Right.
Yep, okay.
I did speak with Bill Lambert about this, and
Okay.
he agreed. He's like, Chief, there's nothing I can do until we change it.
Okay,
So he was kind of supporting me with the thought.
okay, good, all right.
My schedule is completely clear next week, so whenever, just let me
I
know.
want to do it
Same here.
early in the week.
Okay.
Except for
All right.
Friday.
Yeah, it'll be early in the week,
Yeah.
all right. Good. So, back to the discussion of the fines. Do we want to pursue it, not pursue it? I think I had the conversation with the chief about the potential problems that it could have with part of that funding going to police standards and training. I'm happy to do it. I just,
Well, it's one of those state anomalies. I think it should be pursued because, the towns really didn't get any say. We provide, and I think Tilton is in a unique situation. This is a state highway. We patrol it, basically. It's been a long time since I've seen a state policeman stop anybody on it.
Right.
And they're underfunded. So our officers patrol it. It's the expense of the Tilton taxpayers that it's patrolled. And those fines, I understand they go to the academy to fund that. But shouldn't the state have found other means to fund it?
the academy.
The academy, maybe, I don't know, some other way. They like to increase our various, what do they call them, luxury taxes? Although I don't think smoking cigarettes is much of a luxury.
Right.
But some way, or at least the town should have had some kind of say on how our taxpayers' dollars are being spent. Because that's what's happened.
Yeah. And I guess, I think probably the argument from police standards and training, and again, happy to pursue it and have the conversation and bring you together with them to explain it, that might be the best first step, is that if the money is diverted to the towns, which I agree with you, it makes sense when you explained it to me, then the money that would otherwise go to police standards and training, and I can tell you this happened last legislative cycle, that they were talking about actually charging the towns to send their officers to the academy, and making them pay.
Because you see, I see it lopsided. We have Tilton, who has Route 311 from end to end, very active. We have, 20 police personnel total?
Do you have any idea what
For a population of approximately 3,600. And yet you have, so we have a lot of money going down there, a lot of money. And then you have a small community, let's say like Barnstead or Gilmington maybe, that are more rural and have very few police personnel and mostly rural roads. I can't think of, 127 that might go through Barnstead?
107.
Yeah, 107. So, their contribution is going to be far less than the town of Tilton. So I'd like to see, what kind of formula do they use? Or do they even consider how much the taxpayers of Tilton are contributing as opposed to other smaller communities? There's so much more for this to me. I used to carry it around. I think it's on my desk. I hid it. New Hampshire DOT, their program of fatalities on the highways to 0.
Yeah.
Now, how much is that costing the taxpayers of the state to fund that program? And how unrealistic is it?
Which program is this?
You're not going to flash it at me.
They gave us these cute little flashlights at the presentation.
Yeah, and notebooks.
I can only imagine that this is costing taxpayers money.
I'm sure there's probably,
From the DOT guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's funded.
Zero, DOT.
I'm sure it's funded for some federal dollars, but there have to be state funds in it as well.
Borrowed federal dollars.
Their mandate has changed. I'm kind of going off on a tangent. It's like the advertising, and I'm not sure if it comes out of Department of Safety, DOT, or where it comes from, to get tourists to visit our state.
That's dread.
We take funding away from, handicapped people, elderly people for those services, but yet we spend millions on getting people to come to our state. I know tourism is important, but perhaps if we cut back on that funding every other year, who else out there is there to convince to come to New Hampshire for tourism? We're kind of a known commodity at this point. So, yeah, it drives me You can
Oh, actually, good conversation that I'll pass on to the Budget Committee, because we're going to be starting up again.
Yeah.
I did get put on as the Vice Chair of Senate Finance, so...
Oh, hooray.
Yeah.
Oh, well, congratulations, and my condolences.
For us.
You know, absolutely will, share these concerns. You're right. I mean, you're not wrong about a lot of what you're saying. And, we constantly face that. There's money that the Department of Insurance has for advertising. They have an advertising budget, why are we advertising insurance?
Yeah, we cut services to the needy, but yet, it makes no sense.
Or what
We
about
make no sense.
the fact that all the state roads we have in this town, how many years has it been since they've even touched them? They're a
That goes
mess.
straight
Which
to the
leads
highway
me
trust
into the
fund
next
dollars.
thing, DOT related again. I'm one of the Lakes Region Planning Commissioners, go figure. And at the last meeting I went to, they had, DOT was out again, glad handing and stuff, and explained, they had this very nice presentation and materials and handouts and about the DOT report card. How are we doing? They spent a lot of money on this, and they're how are we doing now? How do we expect to do here, and there? And I said, wait a minute, that's all well and good, but you spent all of this money, but you're telling me that you won't fix a road because it's too bad. You're going to resurface roads that are good, and because they're good, and if we put asphalt on them, they'll stay good. But the other ones, sorry about your bad luck.
Yeah.
I didn't get it then, I don't get it now. It might be something, the report card.
They're forcing the towns into a situation
That's
by
what they
not
call it.
repairing and doing their maintenance on the Class 2 state aid roads. They're forcing the towns to go into the one-thirds, two-thirds program and take them over as town roads and relieve them of the responsibility.
Right.
Because the roads, because of their neglect, are becoming impassable in a lot of communities. I mean, we're faced with a couple of those roads, and we're trying to decide, okay, do we spend some taxpayers' dollars because some of them are unsafe. I mean, you have to crawl across them. I went across one last night, 10, 15 miles an hour, because if I went any faster, the washboard would have sent me off the road.
And wait till spring.
Are those roads on the list at all? The list? No.
We have not
Not the one I saw.
partnered with them with a two-thirds, one-third.
No, I mean, are they even on the list for repair?
10-year plan?
Oh, I don't think so.
No,
No,
not
they're
the one I saw the list.
Yes, they do come out occasionally, and our Public Works Director takes them for a ride on some of the roads. And I know last year, one of our roads, Colby, was so bad on the one lane going, one direction, that a regular car had to go over in the other lane and go down because the moguls were so high you'd bottom out.
The
So-
comment is there's other roads worse.
Yes.
And maybe there are, however.
Right.
That's what's happening. And, it's because of their lack of funding. It trickles down to us.
Yeah.
They don't get funded. I mean, those guys love to repair roads. That's what they do. But without funding, they can't.
Right.
And then it falls down to the local taxpayer.
And it's
So-
very difficult, too, I think. We've all, been under this strain. All of the different costs that the state are reverting back on the towns. We're trying very hard to keep our budgets balanced, too, and not raise them. But, between insurances and stuff like that, I mean, every time we turn around, we're getting another letter. Well, we're considering, or we're going to reduce this, or, and it makes it very hard, because you get the feeling after a while is like, what good is the state government if they're going to dump all their costs onto the towns?
Article 10. Right to revolution.
Well, but I mean, these are some of the things we talk about and deal with all the time, and, you're constantly trying to plan for them, but they still come through with some surprises now and then, and So far, we've been okay. We kind of anticipate and, plan ahead a little bit, but there's other things that you just don't.
Scott has some input, Sandy.
Catherine, what part of the tickets that are written on Route 3 that go to the state, what part is that of, how much of a percentage, Chief, is that of all the tickets that are written in the town of Tilton, would you say? Have you figured out the percentage?
No, it's a fair amount, though. Obviously, it's probably going to be the majority.
Majority of them are written on Route 3 corridor?
3 and 11.
Isn't it only town ordinances? If you enforce town ordinances like our parking, dogs, etc., that's what the town gets to keep?
Right.
But isn't it all motor vehicle?
All in New Hampshire, yeah.
Even Prospect Street?
All streets, yeah, unless we write it as a town ordinance. There's a,
So we write the tickets and the state collects the money?
Right.
Well, that's a great, and is by RSA, is the state police responsible for patrol a state road?
The state road.
So it's their responsibility, but we're doing it for them and we're sending our money down
It's
there?
just like New Hampshire DOT is responsible for Class 2 state aid roads. But if they don't have the funding and they don't have the staff, how can they?
Well, what happens is that money goes to police standards and training, or a portion of it. The share, I guess that would potentially go to the town, goes to police standards and training, and when you have a police officer that needs training, they go to police standards and training.
So does Tilton get a reduced rate less than other towns that don't send as much in?
It's free.
Yeah, we don't pay anything. So
You don't
if
pay
we
anything,
have,
but we pay
Not free.
say we have,
Right.
say we have an officer,
Other than Tilton may have a larger police force than the rural town that might only have one or two or nothing.
I was
Or
gonna-
no.
I was going to say, what about the towns?
But it would be based off the percentage of tickets being written, right?
Well, I mean, that's a good...
For the revenue?
I mean, I would be interested to know how much, and that would be something that, we could have that conversation. I'm not suggesting that it's not, but based on the conversation you and I had, just letting you know that we go down that road and we talk to police standards and training, is there an unintended consequence of getting the money for the town? And you're right, maybe the portion will more than make up for that if it's on a percentage basis, or do you end up getting the funds but then paying?
see, for Tilton, it probably wouldn't be a detriment if we had to pay for our officers to go, because we don't have a lot of turnover. It's not like we have officers every year. But a smaller community that doesn't pay in as much as Tilton would proportionately, it probably would. I mean, it's going to have to be looked at statewide, not just for the benefit of Tilton, because we certainly, the amount of tickets we write, our officers are very active. And I'm sure it would cost us less to receive the monies and then pay for those officers occasionally that would go.
I know there was a House bill last year to change the funding of the academy, and then there was a committee. And
Right,
they
and
looked
that-
at alternate
right.
funding sources, and a lot of the ideas were a tax on cigarette toll money, that sort of thing, and it ended up getting tabled, but I'm told it's back again this year, and
Oh, is it?
I just looked, there's also House Bill 1638. It's coming up this year, H 2872, and that's to study motor vehicle fines. So that's in already, and then
Who's the author of that, do you know? Does it say?
No, but I see there's another one here to increase speed limits, Valancourt. And I'm trying to lower them. And that's
I remember
0228 to increase speed
the
limits.
issue of fines did make its way to Senate Finance, because we had this discussion, and I remember it was either Weiler or Kirk, I can't remember, one of the two, wanted the towns to start paying for their own training of police.
But not give us any of the fines that we collect.
Right. I mean, yeah, it was just,
Right.
yeah.
One more.
Catherine, would it be beneficial for the town just to have the number in hand of
Yeah.
the amount that's being sent to the state? number to,
Yeah, if you
how
can-
many officers have we sent over, say, a 10-year period?
Yep.
How much money have we sent over 10 years? How many officers have we sent? Divide the two and see what it's costing you per officer. I mean, I think that would be a number that'd be very beneficial.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing for free. We all know that.
No.
You can say we send them down there for free. We don't.
No, we have a cost.
We pay a price.
Of course.
Yeah, right, you do pay, it's not free.
But, I mean, that
That's
would be
how
a
you
number
pay
that
it.
you could look at
Yeah.
and say, okay, this is what it's actually cost us over the last 10 years to send X amount of officers down there.
That'd be an interesting study.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it came
Cost
up,
of the
they
cruiser,
talked about
cost of gas,
tuition-based training, so it wouldn't be just basic, but there's mandatory ongoing in-service training would have to pay for it too, so it's not just if you only hire 3 in 10 years, but there's mandatory training they have to go to every year that we would have to pay for that too. So I know it got so involved last year that I think it was overwhelming and it got tabled, and I went down to a couple of the meetings just to hear what they had to say. So, but from what I'm told, we met with Beth the other day, it's back again this year, so.
I'm just saying that there should be a study done.
Yeah.
There should be some sort of formula created that helps to offset the cost of a community like Tilton as compared to one of the more rural ones that doesn't, have so much money going in.
The citizen realizes that takes place.
But I'll tell you what, if we stop patrolling Route 311, that would be anarchy.
Yes, it would be.
We can't stop, because, I mean, it's a public safety issue for the residents. They would be the Wild West out there, and we can't do that. So we're compelled to do it, and because they know we're compelled to do it, you seldom, if ever, see a state trooper like actively engaged in enforcing the traffic laws on Route 3. As often as I travel it, I can't tell you the last time I saw one.
Once in a while, you'll see them down on the west end towards the
Yeah.
Franklin end.
Yeah.
That's Knowles, the traffic fines.
Knowles?
Yeah, W. Knowles.
Well, I will see about scheduling the meeting for next week relative to the speed limit. And I actually have a meeting with Commissioner early next week, and I'll talk about the fines, see what he has to say about that.
And the academy doesn't get all of it either. It's a percentage. I want to think it's like 40% maybe. I think it was 60-40, so.
So then that other 60% needs to go back to the towns?
Who gets the 60?
I don't know, Joe.
It's not something that's going to take place overnight.
The unknown.
That's going to be a
Right.
couple of years to really study that well.
Yeah.
Pothole research.
Have that.
Thank you.
They're looking in the wrong places.
I think they'll start a committee right away this year, probably, on it.
Well, and if they do, that's something we want to make sure they get added to it, to look at that.
Senator Forrester, what do you see on the state level now? What do you see that are going to be challenges coming up for all of the state, not just the state government, but...
Well, I think they're all the things that we saw last time, education. I mean, the lack of funding that we have. You've probably heard we're $49 million in the hole because the hospitals didn't pay their taxes, and of course they're in dispute that they owe the taxes. The new governor who's come out already told all the different departments that they have to look at cuts because we don't have the money. They're not projecting revenue. So the next 2 years are gonna be more of the same, and it's gonna be where do we find the revenue and where do we fund, where are the priorities? You know, the university system came and asked for $100 million to go back to the $100 million, and they would freeze tuition for the next 2 years. But the reality is, in the 4 years prior to the last 2 years, when spending was going up, tuition was going up. So the cut, and it was a significant cut, just like it was to the hospitals, but it wasn't something that we made a choice to do. It had to be done, or else we would have been more borrowing. I mean, you guys don't do it. We shouldn't be doing it at state level.
Right.
So it's going to be, the next 2 years are going to be tough again. And I think that it's going to call for the state to have to start being creative on ways to, I don't want to say fund things, but how do you get things done?
But typically where they cut monies from the various programs directly affects the local taxpayers.
Well,
They cut funding from, and I'm sorry, I don't have it on my list, I was looking for it, but there's a program for is it historical resources? A community, I think it's Tamworth, applied to this fund to restore a covered bridge. The monies come from the Registry of Deeds and is paid for not by taxation, but by those people filing certain documents. Is that their heritage fund? At any rate, that's what it is, thank you. Those monies don't go through the state. They go into the registry and into this fund. They should have been protected. Now those funds go to the state.
Yes.
And so now the municipalities don't have the fund to help them with these.
dedicated funds have been, Republican or Democrat, it's been done for
That's right.
a long time. It's not, it's a bipartisan.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not, there's no parties here. It's just, but this is what the state is doing.
Having been a former Main Street manager, LCHIP is a program I really believe in, and I don't believe that the fund should be rated. I'm going to be interested to see what happens this time, because, and I advocated it the last time around when I sat on Senate Finance, but the choice that they pretty much said to me is either LCHIP goes away completely, or we fund it enough just to keep it going until we get to better times. And they left enough just to get them through administratively for the 2 years and dole out the money that they already had, but nothing else went to fund it. So, and those funds then got diverted to things like developmentally disabled. I mean, we were at a point, just like I'm sure you're at in other towns, where you have to figure out needs versus wants. And yeah, some of it does it gets shifted down to the towns.
But when they started rating that fund, and I love your choice of words, we were building a new facility at Hampton Beach.
Yeah.
Not because the old one was, falling down or broken, but because it aesthetically was not pleasing.
Right.
And we spend millions of dollars rebuilding that for bathrooms and, beach guards and
It's a
whatnot.
nice facility.
But we rate LCHIP funds.
Right. Was it needed? I know. Was it needed versus?
Where's the priority? I mean, at the town level,
I know.
you would never see that.
Yep.
You abandon those frivolous things.
Well, it was good for Hampton Beach.
Yeah.
Kathy, can I ask the senator a question?
Let Sandy's chair tonight.
Oh, Sandy, go ahead.
Oh, no, go right ahead.
The retirement system being only funded at 50-some%, with Ben Bernanke coming out yesterday and tying the interest rates for the Federal Reserve to the unemployment rate, keeping it arbitrarily low, so it's going to make it much harder for fund managers to be able to raise their revenue, or as far as they're usually looking at anywhere from 6.5% to 8% as an income on their investments. It's going to be much more difficult for them to be able to meet that expectation. So, and as a taxpayer, it's dropping on our backs. We see it at the school district, we see it at the town level, we see it at the county budget. They're talking about a 9%, almost a 9% increase in just the county budget in the paper the other day. How is that going to be addressed so that it's financially reasonable to the actual taxpayer, but also reasonable to the person that was promised X, Y, Z whether it be through the school or through the state or through the towns or the county budget for their retirement.
Yeah. I don't know is the short answer. I mean, there are a lot of things that we're going to have to, look at. When we looked at, back in the 70s when the state came to the towns and said, get involved in retirement and we'll fund it at 40%, and then it started reducing, and then when Governor Lynch came out with his budget in the first part of the session, and he was going to eliminate the 25% subsidy altogether, we made reforms in the retirement system that saw increases in service and more pay for the system. No one is happy. And I think this is a situation where we're going to see more of that, and everyone's going to feel it. I don't know what else the answer is that there's going to be, because we just don't have the money. Unless you do raise taxes, income or sales. Governor Hassan's already said that's not going to happen. So then, does it fall to increase cigarette taxes again? It's not going to make up the difference. Gambling.
That's an unknown commodity.
Yeah.
Right.
Every state's trying to jump on board in New England right now.
But there's an expense to that as well.
Of course there is.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not free.
Huge expense.
Yeah.
But my concern is that I see the same thing happening with the state that's happening with our elderly population. They're the ones that have some money in the bank. They're getting no interest rates on it. There's nowhere to go to get any interest rates to supplement their income.
Right.
So what they're doing, they're slowly eroding their principal to the point that they can't make ends meet.
Right.
And I see the state doing the same thing with the retirement fund.
Right.
That the retirement fund now is at 50-some%. Pretty soon you're going to be in the 40 percentile because you've got more and more people going on it, and they're taking out X amount, and it's not being paid back in, and the only alternative you have, as you said, it was at 40%. Now, what's it down to now? It was down to 25. Is it lower now?
It's zero now.
It's zero now.
Yeah.
So it's been passed to the taxpayers on the taxpayers' backs already, and it's still not funded at anywhere near where it should be. And there's really no vehicle to go out there and get the funding to help build up, to increase the funds.
Promises were made that couldn't be kept. I mean, especially in this economy, because you based on a certain return, which we're not seeing in this economy. There's just not any good news.
No, there's not.
It's scary, actually, what's happened.
It is very frightening. We see elderly people all the time that they're falling off the edge, if you will. I mean, they started out very well able to take care of themselves and cover their expenses, and everything they've lost. They're not getting any return on their monies, and everything around them is going up.
Right.
And, I think another situation, and I'm sure that all of you talk about it on the state level too, but is the fact that we are getting to the point with property taxes that it's going to get to the point that only the very well-to-do will be able to afford to live here. I mean, even our young people trying to rent a place, our rents are high because the property taxes are high. And I don't know what the answer is, and I'm sure that, it can be talked about for a long time by even more intelligent and, thoughtful people, but it's the idea that if we want the state to remain the way it is with a mix of people, we've got to come up with something, because most of our young people are leaving.
Right.
Because they can't have their beginning and livelihood in this state.
And it's one of the things that I've been talking about and pleased to see that it's happening is that we need a long-term economic development plan for the state that incorporates a lot of different things, from education to our seniors and what you're seeing in the out-migration of young people, and addressing all those issues. And like I say, I'm pleased to tell you that they are starting to work on that. And in the next, probably beginning in January, we will start hearing from the experts on the economy, both, in the state, in New England, and nationally, what's happening. And they're pretty good, I have to say. 2 years ago, when I first heard my first presentation, they were pretty much right on target with what they said then. So this is where we're at, and there's just no good news.
What is being addressed in the fact that you've made a statement that there was promises made that can't be kept? That's still true in retirement right now. And so what is being done at the state level through the Senate and the House to be able to address that?
Well, one of the things that we talked about was going from a defined benefit to defined contribution, which means you take control of your own, it's your own retirement versus a promise. But that's a changeover that is fraught with all kinds of legal, issues. If you've promised employees of the past things, you can't break that promise. So you've got that liability that you got to figure out what to do with. So going forward, you're looking at, new employees, offering them a different kind of program. But there's just so many things to consider, and within that are the lawsuits. It's like you see with the hospital not paying their taxes, and I understand their point of view. I'm not saying what they're doing is bad. It's just this a reality that we're in. We've got a law. We owe money for a lawsuit having to do with mental health. So it's just, and after all that, as depressing as this is, we're better off than a lot of other states.
Well, I know that if you look at the railroad retirement in this country, is upside down, and the government has a guaranteed retirement that they pay out. And right now, they're upside down by $18 billion.
Right.
And they continue to grow.
In
Gee, who'll be on the hook for that?
In California, there are employees at least 2 years ago, I don't know where they're at now, who are getting IOUs from state government because they just didn't have the money to pay them.
Right.
So
I haven't heard any...
I know, it's scary.
It is very frightening.
I haven't heard anybody talk about alternate funding sources. We either have to cut spending or we have to raise money. Property, there's only so much square footage in the state of New Hampshire.
Right.
A certain percentage of that is in current use, and what other alternate funding sources might there be to raise revenues?
the only thing that I'm hearing is, because you've already heard, the sales or income tax is out.
Where did I hear that?
Governor pledged that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's a political thing to get elected.
Well, we'll see.
We got to have revenue. If we're going to continue to spend at this rate
Right.
and make promises to people, we have to raise the revenue.
Right.
We have to.
And, one of those alternative sources I mentioned was gambling. Some think that's going to be the savior. I don't believe it is.
That's not money falling out of the sky. That comes out of the people's pockets that are least likely to be able to afford it.
Yeah, but they willingly give it, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Well,
Ching, ching.
yeah, I guess, but
I've watched.
that's not a panacea that's going to solve our problems going forward.
There has been, I'm sure you've heard the talk about, at least during the campaign, of accepting the expanded Medicaid funds.
Yes.
But that's not, that's to a specific purpose. It's not,
And it's in the budget this year, but God only knows what happens next year.
and,
that's mostly borrowed, as far as I can see.
you've got a federal government who's already $1 trillion in debt, trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. Where's that money coming from? So,
And they pass these rules and regulations to the state, who in turn can't afford it and pass it on to us.
yeah, which reminds me, somebody, what did I say? I think somebody introduced legislation about putting or somebody asked about putting in legislation. I was curious to get your opinion about a cap on what can be requested from a town for welfare.
By an individual?
Well, there are
Yeah.
there are a number of issues with the welfare and the town's responsibility thereof, because that's a game also.
Yes.
That the state government offices, well, even though they're quite, people qualify to be funded by them, they'll send them to the town. Well, go to the town, they'll help you.
Yeah.
And then there's the mandate that if they're in our town, they get off the bus in the town of Tilton,
Right.
they belong to us.
Right.
They may not have residency here, or established residency, but they step off the bus, they walk over to the welfare office and say, I'm homeless.
Yep.
I have nothing. It's our responsibility.
Right.
I believe some representative is trying to present something for a local sales tax too, isn't he?
Yes, county tax.
Yeah, county tax.
Yeah.
The county gets to impose this tax?
That's quite horrifying.
That is semi-horrifying, although a lot of states do that.
Tax.
A lot of states do that. Even at the city level, Florida, you have to pay the city tax, the county tax, and the state tax in sales. But they don't have the same level of property taxes. The first $25,000 is totally exempt, and then the property tax percentage is compared to us, is a pittance. But they're paying 8% sales tax.
Right.
But I think, Joe, what the senator said is true. If you go through state by state, states that have both sales and income tax, they're no better off than
No.
they're in much worse shape than we are.
Yes, indeed. It's all a matter of spending priorities at that point. We have billions of dollars. Let's spend tens of billions.
Right.
The state needs to be run like any municipality, should be run like a business, and not
The same basic principles
pot of
anyway.
gold sitting
You
in the
can't spend
closet.
more than you take
when you need
in.
more, you just increase the tax, or, look for somebody's pockets to reach deeper into.
Do you think the 2-year biennium hurts them or helps them?
Helps who?
The state as far as budgeting purposes?
Boy, I don't have an opinion on that. I don't think it hurts.
Just because things can change so much
Yeah.
within a 24-month
Yeah.
period.
I'd hate to try to figure out what's going to happen 20 months from now and budget for it.
I know it's tough. It would be tough to budget for 1 year, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of times when you see it, their estimates on their revenues are off because of the 2
They
years.
are.
Yeah.
Sometimes they hit it close the first year, but they miss on the
Right.
second year.
Right.
And it's the same way the expenditures
Right.
go up, and it's always the second year it seems to catch them on the expenditures.
Right. And I think that, what you saw, we came into the last 2 years, we came in with an $800 million deficit.
Yep.
And by making cuts and projecting revenue conservatively, we were able to get ourselves out of that to where at the end, and depending on where you take the snapshot in that time period, where you're at, but at the end, I think we had like a $17 million surplus, but that's pretty darn close.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
if we hadn't made all the cuts that we had made,
Right.
we wouldn't have had a $17 million surplus.
Oh, exactly.
Right.
Does that $49 million lack of payments from the hospitals cut into that $17 million surplus?
No, that's the 49, that's where we're at right now, is with that 49. At that one point, we had the 17 million surplus.
Oh, yeah, okay, but no longer.
If you really
more
looked at the
surplus.
figures, that really didn't
Yeah,
exist.
Yeah.
It was pretty crafty, but that didn't exist.
It's definitely and believe me, I sat down with the Legislative Budget Office, and they showed what, how things had change in how they had projected this, and that's where you got to that number, and it's just, it really is very much, I don't know if organic is the word or fluid, but,
That's why I asked the question. I feel that whenever you read the budget and you look at the revenues, okay, they can skew the numbers to make the first year look good.
yes.
But then it catches up with them in the
Yes.
second year, whereas if you had a one-year budget,
Yeah.
you would be face reality within that first year, not get us into trouble,
Sure.
and it's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the end of the second year, your budget can be so far off that you've created a hole. Now you've got to try to dig out of that hole.
Yeah.
Municipalities, and I'm sure the state does, often gambles on unexpected revenue.
Right.
You know, federal government, gee, what might they give us next year? They gave us this, so maybe they'll give us
They give
this.
it, but they don't have it to give.
Yeah.
Right, but you gamble on something that's unrealistic.
But I'm sure you heard it, that in past years, in the last 4 years, that under the Democratic-controlled legislature, that they over-projected revenue, too much so. But then I've also heard on the other side that, Republicans were too conservative, and there's that, where is that, but where is that happy medium, I guess? But I think the fact that we were that close said that our numbers were, pretty close in terms of our revenue projections. And I think from what I'm hearing already is that its revenues are going to be flat. We're not going to see a lot. And even with the cigarette tax, you saw that we had a negative effect, but then all of a sudden we had a positive effect,
Right.
So it's all over the place. So interesting to your question, yeah, I suppose if you had it on 1 year, and I have heard people have that discussion about just making it a 1 year, but by the Constitution, our budget has to be balanced, so at least if in 2 years, if you're projecting revenues conservatively, you shouldn't have that big hole in the second year, and if you do have a problem, you might be able to smooth it out, versus if it's in 1 year and you're coming.
Well, you haven't had a balanced budget. For a lot of years, we don't go with a balanced budget. We've run upside down and take from the rainy day fund to make up the difference.
Oh, that's true.
And so when the rainy day fund, that's like taken from your savings account, just because you're overliving your daily living.
Yep.
And then you take it from the savings account, but you've never put anything back in the savings account. Sooner or later, the bank says you haven't got anything in your savings account.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't see the difference between, I think that 1 year, it would force the legislative bodies to have to face reality, which the towns are forced every year. They're forced, they face the legislative body every year in the fact that here's what we need to run the town. And if tax rates went up the year before, there seems to be a bigger push that next year for the people to come to town meeting looking at cutting the budget because their taxes went up the year before.
Right.
And they have to live within your means. And I think if the towns should do it, the state, I believe, does the county government work off a 1 year budget, don't they? I believe so. I think they
I'm as good as certain.
budget. And I just think that it would force them to face reality as opposed to live within the 2 years and say, well, we'll catch up with it next December on the 2 years out. It's just thought.
That's going to go over.
Welcome to Tilton. Aren't you glad you came?
Well, we certainly appreciate the fact that you've taken your time to come in and speak with us.
Let me ask you this, because we're kind of in transition. I had, when I asked the assistant in my office to set up my appointments for my new towns first off. And now, had she already done this, or is this in addition to the one that she set up? Or does anyone know?
I don't know.
We'd have to ask Joyce.
Yeah.
There's another, for a meeting, you mean?
Yeah.
There's one in January, right?
Okay, so that's the one.
10th,
Okay.
January
Now,
10th.
do you still want me to come back in January?
I don't want to waste your time.
Are there other general court representatives coming to that meeting?
No, not that I know.
No, it was just Jeannie's assistant setting it up.
Yeah, because I had said that starting in January, I wanted to get back to the town again, so. And what I intended to do this next time around is when I do have these meetings, to let the other representatives know so that we're all coming at once. And that you can hear from all of us. Republican, Democrat, tell us what you need. So maybe we should plan for January anyway, and see if we can get everyone here at once.
All right.
That's, yeah.
All right.
All right. very
So
good.
this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow up about a meeting for early next week. And Chief, you want to be there? Is everybody want to be there?
I definitely want to be there.
Okay. And I'm going to be meeting with the commissioner early next week, so I'll bring up the issue of the fines, sharing of fines anyway, and see what he has to say about that. Does that make sense?
Yes, very good.
And then I just have one question for you. LGC, any kind of thoughts or comments on what's happening with the New Hampshire Municipal Association or Local Government Center?
I think we probably have to listen to their appeal because they have until September of next year to carry it out anyway.
Right.
I just didn't know, as a select board, if you had any sense of what was happening, any concerns about the organization going away? Are they still serving you, or are you having any issues?
We're concerned about their surplus and their fight that we're right and the legislature has absolutely no oversight. That concerns me, but I love LGC's services. They've been really good on several levels.
And just so you know, it's not the legislature, it's the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
That's
The
where
government of New
that's
Hampshire.
where the battle is.
Right.
And for me, as a former town administrator, having had that experience with LGC and having the benefit of them helping me, I feel there is a value there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
I
do.
just wondered if you...
We do.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
we do.
Like I say, their reserve battle seems a little suspect to me, but as far as LGC goes, their services have been very helpful to me.
I think if you sat down and you looked at the number of municipalities they served,
Yeah.
and because it's supposed to be for a catastrophic event, and you look at, what the what-if scenario, then maybe it isn't so unreal to have such a large
Right.
surplus. But on the other hand, considering the times we're in, maybe it's time to take a chance. So I can't fault them for, the Secretary of State, for making the decision that was made and having them give some of them back to the communities. But I think until we hear their appeal, the monies are fine where they are.
Right.
And they serve us
Good.
daily, I think, almost,
Yes.
at least in Tilton.
You know,
On one level or another, for sure.
I don't know if everyone feels the same way I do, but from everything that we've read about it, and they've come up and they keep us informed on how things are going. But I think it's more a difference of policy, or what one person thinks versus another. I don't get the feeling that anyone at LGC has done anything shady or underhanded or illegal. It's just that you have this individual over here that think you've got way too much of a reserve, and they're saying, no, we don't think we do. So, I agree with Catherine, until we see which way they're going to go with their appeal, but I'm very comfortable with them. They're always there when we need them to be, so.
I think the biggest controversy now that comes from it is those communities that have filed suit against them
Yes.
and want their monies now, but a lot of those communities dropped out of them before the August
Right.
16th deadline.
Right.
You had
They
to have
did.
been a member
Yeah,
after August 16th.
right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You couldn't, if you fell out in July, oh well. So I think that's the big controversy now. That's the big newsmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a separate issue, at least for Tilton it is.
Yes.
Scott had his hand up.
Yeah, does the LGC have to pay into the insurance commission where they sell insurance within the state in the event that they would go out of business? With the insurance, would they back them up?
They're not,
They're selling an insurance vehicle because they're selling.
right, but it was way back when
So they do not pay any premiums into the state?
I do not believe that they do. They were set up specifically to meet the insurance needs of municipalities.
What would happen if LGC went out of business? You had mentioned it just a minute ago. What in the event that, say, communities paid in for a year's worth of coverage for the town, and then they went out, what would happen?
It's a good question.
Wouldn't that depend on why they went out of business?
No.
If they had a catastrophic event that wiped out their reserves, well, then they've got nothing to pay you back with. But if they just went out of existence tomorrow, they have a number of millions of dollars. So, I mean, it seems like there would be some monies to give back.
Depending on how those millions are dispersed, or where they happen to disappear to. Businesses come and go.
Well, I'd like to think that LGC is above the board.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think it's strictly hypothetical.
I don't think they're going out of business. It's a risk pool. We all get together and give them our money, and if we need it back for a catastrophe, we get it.
They were talking about this issue of how much is too much in reserves way back then.
Yep.
And what I always heard was that you wanted to have that cushion because in the times of if rates went up or down, that it smoothed out and the towns didn't feel those extremes.
Yep.
You know, what some have said, and they've made that decision, that it was too much.
Right.
And that the excess that they had, they were spending on buildings and other things that they should have been giving back to the towns. But it's somebody coming in and looking at an organization and saying, well, you should have done this, this, and this, and not being on the inside and knowing how things work. And it, ultimately, you have people sitting on the board of LGC who are select board members, who are municipalities, who are, running that for the town. So, I don't know. I think they're good organization, and I think they do a lot of good things. I was just curious what the perception was out there.
So far, so
That's the
good.
way our feeling is too.
They have said if they lose on the appeal, they will pay it back to the communities.
Yes.
That we remember as of August 16th, 2012.
Yes. No, I have no doubt that would happen, but
I don't have any
they're
doubt
taking
either.
the opportunity for the appeal, and, I have to honor that too. So.
And I asked, because the amount of money that's spent in legal fees so far, at one point, because I attended a presentation up in Warren, and I said, would LGC consider just stopping this and moving on?
Yeah.
The response I got was that they felt that their appeal was very strong, that suit was way out of bounds, and that they have a very good case. And so I don't, you just kind of have to
That
believe
just
they
as by spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been very enlightening.
And I'll see you back in January, and
Yes.
we'll make every effort to get, I guess that would be Dennis and Ian, right?
Yes.
And then you can give us all an earful. And I'll be in touch with you tomorrow or Monday at the latest.
The chief is probably the easiest, and he'll...
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Thanks, Jeannie. Bye-bye.
Okay, proud homeowner?
Proud homeowner.
Good for you. And now you're a landlord.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
going to be a landlord.
We have a few things we have to take care of. We have not gone to this yet. And, Catherine, would you like to do you have anything for a selectman report? I know you have to leave at 5:30, so.
Not this week.
Okay.
Only thing I have is a question about the bids that we were going to get back from Best Way about the every other week. Yeah, it was just a question. Everything else that I'm working on is pretty much what it is.
The carrier time over Joyce's recommendation.
Did we see that? Did you act on it?
No, we haven't done it. That's, Jeannie showed up, so we stopped. So we really need to do this while Catherine's still here because she has to leave at 5:30. Okay?
Okay. So, I wish I could say I apologize for my lateness, but buying a house was much more important.
Well, good for you.
Let
Congratulations.
me rephrase that. Buying my home, where my heart has been for 29 years, is...
Pretty exciting, huh?
I'm psyched. We have an issue on paid time off to bring up. We have another request to carry over the unused portion of the paid time off. Do you want to go into a non-pub to discuss that, or do you want to?
Can it be talked about without using names? I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. The chief also, I know, wants to address the...
You want to, oh, he didn't address
No.
this. I feel discombobulated, so maybe we should just let you run the meeting, because you know where
Oh,
it's
okay.
going.
Well, Chief, would you like to come up and go over what you wanted to?
Yeah.
I can see.
Just,
Very nice job. Getting more off the street. Excellent job.
Hallelujah, yep.
it's good.
Yep.
Interesting. We got a little boy to safety.
3 years old?
3.5.
3.5 years old, cooking meth in the other room.
They said it was a long investigation, and it came to a very fortuitous end.
Yeah, he was right next to the lab. He's in the same room.
The boy was in the same room.
From me, a little away from him.
Seriously.
Don't do drugs. I know what I'm talking about here.
Is that coffee in there?
As far as you know.
We all have coffee.
At least they're caffeine free.
Not me.
Yep.
But I wanted to encumber some money to get the detectives some vests and personal protective equipment.
Cups?
Vests.
Vests,
Oh.
bulletproof vests.
Vests. Tactical vests.
How's that?
Hello.
The detectives don't have vests?
Well, they do, but these are heavy. They stop rifle rounds for the type of work they do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We
They
Don't
cover
they
the
come
neck
in
and
a
the
little
groin.
closer?
cover.
Isn't the type of work they do, aren't they have to be closer to the action than an officer who might be out on the street?
Well,
So
look
their
at the
vests-
right. Look at the situation last night, where they entered a home, and he was actually cooking meth in the bedroom, in the home. And you don't know what to expect. The vests cover from here to here to here. These vests are tactical vests that will cover the neck, the groin,
Biceps,
and the
arms.
biceps, so that they actually can go in and protect them. And
And it's Kevlar too, so it actually has, Kevlar has a higher flame resistance value than Nomex. So,
Which is what the material is in the ordinary.
yeah.
it'll stop a rifle round.
And it's got a ceramic plate stop, so right now they don't have any of those capabilities. And, recently I sat on that committee overlooking Greenland, and one of the things, when we put that on the microscope, we said, geez, they weren't equipped right or dressed right, and so we're making recommendations statewide that if you're going to be doing that kind of stuff, you need to have the right vest. And so I have the money. I just want to be able to encumber it and get the board's blessing to do that. It'd probably be 6 to 8 weeks to get them in. It's just how it is.
How much are these vests?
They're about $15.06 a piece, and then there's some other miscellaneous.
It's about $7,000
Yeah,
to
about
encumber.
69 total, 100 to encumber.
Cheap money to keep a detective alive.
Yeah.
I had asked the chief earlier, and last night I had an opportunity to visit the site with the chief, and now when you're looking at it firsthand, it's quite an eye-opener to the value of safety to the men and women that are there. Firemen, DEA, state, our own men. And I noticed that quite a few of them had suits on that in respirators. I asked the chief this afternoon if in fact our men had that same, because this is a third one in Tilton. Do they have that equipment to be safe going into something like that, and are they protected? I know they had a very light kind of a suit on that was like a jumpsuit.
That is fire resistant.
Okay.
Yeah. So there, and I did talk with them. They do have tanks on that white truck, and they bring that, and they're also trained to use the fire department stuff too.
So when the white truck shows up at a meth lab, that it always shows up at a meth lab. So the equipment that's on the meth lab, your men have access to?
Bottled air, yeah.
Okay, I got it. So all right, just as long as I know that they're safe and they're protected. Because I saw some of our men in their uniforms with the respirators on.
Yeah, rebreathers. They had those on last night. They'll take it case by case, and I'm not sure that they've gone through the training what makes the difference between a rebreather and bottled air. But they had bottled air last night. The lab technicians, who were civilian chemists, basically, they were in those aluminum foil flight suits. They had a bottled air on, because they actually have to handle it, package it for evidence, and take it to the state lab. But the guys that went in all had the rebreathers on. And he said, I asked him, I said, could you have worn bottled air? He said, yeah, absolutely. So.
But if they needed that kind of equipment, it would be on the truck for them to do that. That was my concern, because I would really want something, and if we could do that, encumber that as well. But if we don't need it, then obviously I don't want to spend the money. But I don't, personally, I don't have a difficulty in encumbering the money for the detectives. The amount of arrests that we have done and gone into the homes, and meth labs and drug busts that we've done, in armed robberies in the last year alone, never mind the last 3 years, is profound. And I think that, you would think that living in Tilton, it would be okay, and we don't have to lock our doors anymore, but we do.
Right.
And it's terrible, but we do. And we need to protect the men and women that are protecting us. And so I'm all for it.
Me too. I agree. It's just something that's needed. They need to be protected. I want them to be able to go home every night to their families too. And
exactly.
So.
Well, thank you.
Joe?
I'll make a motion to allow the chiefs to encumber the monies to purchase the equipment that he's described to us.
You want to see, why don't you pass that
Well,
down?
he can't technically encumber the
He's gonna
money
get a
until he has
purchase
an
order.
obligation
Right.
to pay. So at this point, it would be more correct to have a motion to purchase the equipment.
Right.
Okay, then. Would you like to
Purchase
proceed, Catherine?
No, go ahead.
My motions today have been convoluted, and you've only corrected them anyway, so why don't you go ahead? I just want to get it
Make a motion to
done.
allow the chief to spend
6946.
On a second.
6946.50.
$6,946.50 to purchase the necessary protective equipment for the detectives.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any more discussion on it?
When you order that, you need to get them to mail you back some sort of bill or something that shows there's an obligation of the town of Tilton that we have to pay that debt.
Oh, yeah.
At that
Purchase
point.
order.
Right.
Yep, at that point, then the monies would have to be encumbered.
Discussion?
Yes.
What is a 10 by 12 shooter's cut stand-alone plate?
That's the ceramic plate.
That goes in.
Oh, all right. It's the thing that goes in the vest.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. That doesn't come with the vest?
No.
But that's an
Because
upgrade.
You can get several
upgrade.
different types.
Okay.
Yeah, some just stop handgun, some stop rifle and handgun, and
My last bulletproof vest was made of cotton, so, you know, it's come so far in the time since then. Good, okay, I'm all set.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of encumbering the money for the
No.
Purchasing the
purchasing
equipment.
the equipment for
I'm not the only one.
$69,4650?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you, Chair.
Okay, get these done and we're all set. Celebrate his birthday and do this at the same time.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. Hello, homeowner.
Excellent.
All right, before we get too far, we want to say happy birthday.
Oh, I thought it was a housewarming cake.
Oh,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe.
happy birthday.
To me and many more.
Absolutely.
That was good.
Outstanding. Thank you all very much, and thank you all very much.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm not trying to rush things, but
Got a
we're running out of
laptop.
time.
No, that's all right. Oh, how lovely. Thank you all very much.
You're very welcome. Do you have a good day?
My wife, I had a wonderful day. Kyoko took the day off. We went up around the mountains, Kankamancas Highway, North Conway. I got back home. Everybody jumps out. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. They got me, totally got me. It was very nice. Very nice indeed.
Yes, okay.
I did. Well, I got the shirt. My daughter knows what I like.
That plan.
This, and just wanted us to sign.
We said no, we won't until we said we wouldn't remove it.
Yes.
Yeah. Back in the
Yes, we're going to talk about
Okay,
that.
I just wanted to make sure.
It sounds ludicrous,
That's
I
the
know, but
Yeah.
if I hadn't been doing this my whole life, it would be ludicrous, or more so.
One check.
It was good.
Oh, she has two things. The other thing is to go to one check.
Nick made me dinner. It was lovely. It
Yes.
really, truly was.
And, where's the check?
Okay, do we want to continue while Joe's getting ready his cake for everyone?
Yes, this is the, go from two checks to one check. Okay,
No, that's the fire commissioners.
looks good.
We have a request. I asked the Board of Selectmen to allow my office to convert from a two-check process vehicle registration to one check. Allowing this would provide our residents the option of paying by credit and debit cards over the counter, and also the convenience of paying with one check. This would also be the first step for my office to provide renewal of registrations via the internet. The one check would be payable to the town of Tilton, and we would daily transfer the DMV their funds. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I don't have a problem. I was waiting to see where the money went to first. Should we make a motion? I'll make a motion to allow the town clerk to convert from a two-check process for vehicle registrations to a one-check.
Second.
The one check being payable to the town of Tilton and the daily funds transferred to the DMV.
All right, second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay, we have the Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS is at their monthly commissioners meeting on December 19th. They will have a demonstration of the new medical equipment, the Zoll X series. That's the cardiac monitor.
Right.
And two
nice.
and two new mechanical CPR devices.
Is that all part of the stuff they bought at that meeting we went to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great. This is great equipment.
The Commissioners extend an invitation to you for demonstration of this equipment. The meeting will be held at the Tilton Town Office starting at 5:30. The equipment demonstration will be conducted at the beginning of the meeting. We didn't read Christmas cards last year, we don't need to read them now, right? And you read the letter for New Hampshire DOT? Nice. For the crop seed piece?
Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone aware of Johanna's mother's situation? She went to visit her sister in Colorado and was hit by a vehicle. And she's improving, but she's in rehab. I'm asking permission to the board to send something. Either a basket or card, or a basket or card or something.
The Johanna or the mother?
The mother.
The mother.
I would, something other than just a card, but yeah, something, fruit basket, flowers, something.
No. I
I agree.
I don't know the mother, but if you think it's the right thing to do, I'm in.
I'll get you one.
What do you think, Catherine? A basket of
Basket of fruit.
chocolates or something, food,
I'll ask Joanna what
fruit or something?
her mother
Okay.
likes.
So I make a motion that we send a basket of, you're going to find out what's appropriate at the rehab, to Yolanda DeForge, and then someone can second it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Motion passes, okay. Did you do minutes?
Yes, we did minutes. So all that's really left is, if we want to go through the selectmen's FYI, and then the non-public.
We just went through the selectmen's FYI. Oh, there's something in here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There's a intent to cut wood,
Mm-hmm.
and then
That all goes together, the explanation.
Wow.
I assume what...
What a sweet dinner.
Be bouncing off the wall.
Thank everybody, but...
And I was in a hurry.
this is good cake.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
You got that right.
You said, well, you signed it, so of course you saw it.
No, I had my eyes shut.
It was actually a very, very nice day. Is this without
This is...
precedent?
No, that's legal.
Oh,
Catherine
this isn't legal.
asking for...
This one's coming up as without precedent.
Okay, all right.
Weren't you going to discuss?
When we have a full board.
If the board wants it, which, is that the paid time off carryover?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, that's hers.
this is Catherine Dawson's.
Oh, no, okay.
Days off.
When we have the full board.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. I already told her whatever works out as convenient for Joyce is fine with me.
Works for me.
Joyce, when can an employee carry over?
When?
Yes. Paid time off.
At the end of the calendar year.
But do they have to have a certain amount of years in the, so,
40 hours is a minimum.
No, but...
For each
minimum or maximum?
minimum. The maximum you can carry over depends upon your length of service with the town.
Oh, okay. So even if you've only worked here 1 year, you could still...
Could carry over 40
Okay.
if you've earned it.
So on December 13th, because that's today, December 13th, and you have 28 hours left over,
You can carry over 28.
so it is a minimum, I got it. So you can carry that over, any employee? Okay, because we had a question about that.
You need a 90 again.
Got it. All right.
And if they can just carry it over, how come we've been approving carryovers?
Because it's in excess of the over, it's the over the 40.
Oh.
They're going to carry over 40 and then use,
It's okay, I'm confused too.
Hopefully we'll address that in the non-public part of this.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I can give you what the amounts are. From 1 to 6 years,
Yep.
sorry, from 1 to 9 years is 40 hours.
Okay.
The 10th year, it goes to 41 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
So from 10 to 14, it's 41 hours.
10 to 14 years,
41 hours.
Why
No,
don't they,
you can
why don't they
carry
do it in
over.
increments of 5 or
You
something?
can carry over that much.
I know, but an extra hour?
The intent was use or lose.
Okay.
Use or lose. Okay, so finally, when you get to 15 years, it bumps up to 48 hours, because it's a percentage of what your total annual accrual is.
Right.
And the bump years that they were used was 1, 6, 10, 15, 20, and 25.
Okay.
When you get to 20 years, you can carry over 55, and at 25 years, you can carry over 62.
A week and a half.
Doesn't that increase a person's annual compensation for the purposes of retirement?
No.
No.
Why wouldn't it?
The
If it's-
buyout does, doesn't it?
Buyout does, but not carrying over earned paid time off.
It just gives them more
But
vacation time.
we're paying it in 2013, we're not paying it in 2012.
No, it just means that they're working fewer days. We're still paying them, or they're just working fewer
Right.
days.
Okay, so it's not above and beyond their regular pay.
Buyout is above and beyond.
Okay.
What would be wrong would be is they carried over 40 hours and then couldn't take it, and then they had 80 hours to carry over, and they decided they were going to buy out 80 hours. That would be wrong.
Right. and we
That would
track
go
that.
against
No,
the-
we track that, right.
And I think that's where Joe was going. It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I was headed in that direction
eventually it's going to pile up and we're going to,
without precedent. We are going to be rewriting that section, aren't we?
Yes.
and that word is going to be in there.
Right. Without
I
precedent.
almost insisted on it.
I bet you do.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, personnel.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
We're in.
Can we,
So,
I make a motion to seal the minutes of non-public session as they pertain to personnel permanently.
second?
all those in favor?
Yes?
Aye. So we need to wait just 5 more minutes, so we got any more business that comes before us, and, oh, I know exactly what you're saying now, sorry. I'm still in the house buying mode. I've never seen so many papers in my life to sign.
I know.
Sign here, here, and there. Be sure to initial this, and
They tell you
that.
to bring 2 pens.
Can we one?
I know.
Okay.
She tell you to bring 2 pens and run out of ink.
Yep.
Okay, Christmas parade,
Saturday?
everybody that's in the parade needs to be at Union Sanborn at 3. At 2 o'clock, the parade starts at 3. Selectmen, we're all going to be in the truck this year. We got hay bales so that we can peek out the top of it, do we?
Yep.
Everybody's that coordinated?
Well, Joe said he saw all the hay bales down at the thing and that they were scrubbing the truck clean.
And I'm sure Arthur's got the lights already on it.
Yep.
Okay, let's just not pray for snow on that day.
It's not
No,
supposed to.
not till Sunday.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just light, not anything heavy.
No, I have a bet we're not going to have snow till March.
I think you lose.
You're gonna lose that one, Pat.
They're calling for a more substantial something on Tuesday.
Could I at least get the painting done? Just the painting done?
I want to know when you're going to have your open house, your housewarming.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's way off.
And make a list of everything that
You've lived there 29 years, housewarming.
29 years of,
you're moving.
I have 29 years of ciphering through everything that's in that apartment, say, do we need this? Do we really need it? How much do you really want this? And then you bring it over. And then you have to make a decision what to do with all of that stuff. And then clean and rent the apartment.
Right,
That all has to be done by January.
right.
I know. Well, while we're signing the papers, I texted all my nephews and brothers and sisters and said, we are signing right now. What weekends do you have available? I need painting, patching, and flooring on both sides, and moving. Let's not forget moving. So,
Well, you don't need a truck, do you?
you just go out the door and in the other door.
That's the hard part of lining up trucks.
Out the door and the other door. And if the new furnace is going in this week, I guess.
Okay, we ready to start our public hearing here? Close enough.
All right.
Here's the, you want me to read
Public
it?
comment here.
Well, we at least have to open.
Don't all speak at once. Let me read this first.
Settle down out there.
The Selectmen will hold a public hearing on December 13th, 2012 at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall to Tilton, New Hampshire, to receive public comment on the following in accordance with RSA 4114A. An easement agreement from the Town of Tilton, map lot R954 to Haven Grove, map lot R953 and map R955. The purpose of this easement is to establish a pathway for employees to safely pass from the parking lot on lot 53, for those that don't know it, on the opposite side of the Tilton Senior Center, across the lot 54, which is the Tilton Senior Center, to lot 55, which is Awakening Chiropractic, on Grange Road, Tilton, New Hampshire. That is number one. Number two is a quitclaim deed from the state of New Hampshire to the Town of Tilton, map lot U524, also known as Vest Pocket Park, located at 320 Main Street, Tilton, New Hampshire. Now, I'll open this for discussion.
Well,
As I see no public here,
Shouldn't we wait 5 minutes?
well, let me just say that we've done everything that the RSA calls of us. We sat with the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission and discussed and received input from both boards, and everybody was generally agreeable. The Conservation Commission gave, suggestions about the easement, and then further suggestions about something else, which I discussed last week, but it had nothing to do with the easement. And we've collected everything we were supposed to, and once this public hearing is over, we'll take everything that was suggested, consider it, and in 7 days, when we meet next, then we can determine whether we're going, and make a motion to vote to sign the easement and accept the property.
With regard to Vest Pocket Park,
Yes.
would that automatically then fall under the jurisdiction of the Parks Commission, or is that something that the selectmen would have to decide at
We have to
such time as we...
That is something we'll have to decide, because when we found out it was not ours, in our name, we took over the control of the park until such time that things were taken care of. But seeing as how we formally took the park, then it will be up to us to consider, and then if we're going to give the park control back to them, then we have to make a motion to do so.
Technically, the park wasn't ours to take. Until we signed the lease, it doesn't belong to the town of Tilton, it belongs to the state.
That has already been taken care of. The state was, I guess, wanting to get it done, so they did sign the deed to the property, and they had it recorded. So although this public hearing is a little bit out of alignment, the important part about these public hearings is we will have a history, a file, to keep all this information so that future board members will know that we did everything that we were supposed to do.
Absolutely. So, the question still remains in my mind. Once we sign that quitclaim deed,
we don't sign it.
We don't sign it. It's a quitclaim deed. It's just recorded.
It's recorded. They
That's
signed
already
it.
recorded.
Isn't there paperwork that we...
They signed it.
No, they did it.
They're the sellers. The sellers sign, not the buyers.
Really?
No, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
not right. That can't be right, that they can just say, oh yeah, now it's yours, here you go, you don't have to sign it, we have to sign it. There has to be something we sign accepting it. Or did we do that?
We
We
voted
did that,
to
okay.
accept it, yes, and we let
Okay.
them know that we did.
All right, but that means that
It was a
it's,
vote. We didn't sign anything.
Right.
to-
All right,
Oh,
that-
we did sign something.
there was a
They
signing
signed us.
thing.
The state sent us papers to sign.
Right, we
So-
sent them back.
And then they sent a quitclaim. Yeah, that's correct, right.
So, and we indeed have to decide whose jurisdiction it'll be under once the deed is signed.
The deed is signed.
Oh, formally accepted,
Yes,
This-
we recorded it, right.
formally accepted,
It's
yeah?
recorded, it is a legal document.
So isn't this public hearing, like, after the horse is out of
It's
the
for
barn?
records.
It's for record.
Oh, I see, camouflage. Now, I understand camouflage.
No, not
No, it's not
camouflage.
camouflage, it's just for records,
The
because they've
RS
already done the work.
The RSA says we have to do X, X, and X. We're doing X, X, and X.
Right. And we did this in conjunction with the other one,
Right.
so that it would be, it's a housekeeping issue.
I see.
That's all it is, a housekeeping
Right.
issue.
The one thing I
On
would
that
say to you, Joe, is normally if, as far as the Parks Commission is concerned, if the property is ours, the park is ours, generally speaking, everything that we have that's in the town's name, the park commissioners are taking care of. The only one that they weren't taking care of is the island, because that's split between Northfield and Tilton. And of course, Best Pocket Park was theirs until we realized it wasn't ours.
So it just kind of, it would be automatically in their domain.
I would believe that it would be, yes.
I see. Okay. I was just trying to get that clear in my mind, how that process worked.
Okay, we spent enough time, aren't you, in the...
And I'm killing time to see if somebody will come in and public comment. I know there's some of you out there who probably got something to say, but they're not here, so...
Right.
I will declare this public hearing, seeing how there's no public and no public comment, closed.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, yes, yes.
I can say